Grace and peace, everybody. We are back. Happy April 1st. It's not an April Fool's joke at all. I dropped the brand new Grace and Peace t-shirt on jwit.com. It's there. It's there. I told y'all we're going to get some new shirts popping off. And I think nothing better than starting off with the Grace and Peace t-shirt to honor my birthday month. Shout out. We're about to have a birthday up in here. We got a birthday boy in the building. Yeah, birthday boy. I'll be celebrating in about 3 weeks. But we're going to be celebrating all month. Shout out to everybody who's already jumped into the best live chat on the internet. For some reason or another, YouTube did not tell y'all that it was going to start at 5 o'clock. I have no idea why. The YouTube be YouTubing. You got my people asking, like, what time? Like, look, YouTube just be doing what YouTube be doing. I'm sorry. Anyway, I need a double check. So what I need to do next time, because you kind of get in the habit, you set up the stream, you put all your little collateral in there, all that kind of stuff like that. Notice I'm getting better at putting the video links in the description. They're already there, so I will not be lying to you all when I say link is down in the description. It's there already. So you do all that kind of stuff, but you get kind of lazy and you forget to check to make sure that YouTube is announcing it. Because YouTube be YouTubing. Shout out to YouTube for sure. Grace and peace to you. I see you over there, Bunny Empress in the building. There she is. The Amethyst Angel is up in here. But you're here, though. I appreciate you stopping on through. There we go. Visual Bible in the house. Good to see you. Brilliant. Thank you so much for stopping by all the time. As someone who rarely uses social media, the only good thing about it is that it easily allows me to see who's fake as heck, especially after Charlie's murder. Thank you so much, Empress, and I agree with you 100%. Now, I do use social media quite a bit, but, you know, hey, I get your point. I totally get it. I see you, Mikey. Grace and peace to you, friend. It was set for 9:38 a.m. That's when I set it. It was 9:38 this morning when I set it up. And some reason, I guess I should have checked it. Thank you. I'm glad I saw you post that question because I don't know why I did that. I have no idea. I have no idea. I don't think it's ever done that before. So maybe I just didn't do, maybe I need to follow my little steps. Maybe that's it. Thank you so much. I'm doing quite well, Samurai. I appreciate you. I got a couple of things we got to go over, but before we get too far afield, the new Grace and Peace t-shirt is there, as well as if you're interested, again, a little bit of snark at the I Stand with Erica Kirk shirt is because somebody said that they were considering putting out a shirt to support Erica Kirk. I said, how are you going to put out a shirt to support Erica Kirk? And you also put out a shirt that attacks Erica Kirk. That's some grade A foolishness right there. So I just said, I'll put out a shirt. There you go. It's there for y'all. Thank y'all to everybody who's already copped themselves a shirt. I already got a couple of them that already picked up the Grace and Peace shirt. Grab it, please. I greatly appreciate y'all. All right, let me make sure. Just so you. I think I'm gonna start a sub store in there, and then Tatum will not print or something like that. It'll be the snarky section of the store. You know, in the back office, right there in the back, in the storage room, something like that. I see you. Good to see you. Good evening from Florence, Kentucky. Good to see y'all. Thank you so much. Number 15 up in the building. All right. Thank you so much, Tina. I always appreciate the moderators coming in, dropping those links. Thank you so very much. I appreciate all of y'all. I'll see you there, Ashley. I like that, Ashley. I appreciate you. Grace and peace to you as well. Okay, so we got this out of the way. I appreciate y'all stopping by the store. Holla at your boy. Check out what we got over in the store. I appreciate y'all. And now I'm like half of me. There we go. I'm back in the building. All right. We will be looking at a couple Charlie Kirk debates. Okay. I got that planned. It's on the schedule. However, I kind of there's a topic I want to talk about. And this one's going to be a little bit problematic. So I don't know if I need to add some like dun dun dun, some problematic music. Let me find some problematic music. I need to play that in the background because this is going to be a problematic topic that is probably going to get some people upset. And I'm pretty sure they're going to not want to be my friend anymore. But I want you to try your best. Let me put some trap music. Oh, that's my music. I can't do that. That can't be too problematic there. All right, let's go with this one. Okay, this is some trap music, okay? Because it's problematic. Absolutely hit the like button, Tina. Absolutely. All right. of all people groups, okay, this is a question for the audience. So please get ready in the audience, in the chat. What people group is most problematic as an overall? Would you say it's white men, black men, white, and oh, I'm sorry. Let's make it liberal. White liberal men, black liberal men, white liberal women, or black liberal women, or some other liberal people group. Which one do you think it would be? White liberal men, black liberal men, white liberal women, black liberal women. Okay. I see women is in the chat. Oh, okay. Yeah, clearly you all have been reading my notes. I don't know if y'all been, I was over doing my notes over here and y'all over checking over my shoulder. Wow. Y'all, I ran across 2 TikToks today and a video that really, I was like, you got to be kidding me. Because I've kind of been thinking this for a while, but especially like yesterday when we watched what was it yesterday? Maybe it was the day before yesterday. The No Kings celebration, right? And Turley was talking about how terrible it was. And I was like, I'm noticing a trend here. And I didn't want to say it out loud, but clearly y'all were saying it because it looks like you all are agreeing. Candies are the worst. But you know what? I think most candies are white liberal women. Just my little assessment. Again, this is my non-scientific. So I'm just kind of, starting trouble early this evening. I want to bring a short in here from a friend of the channel, the Ask a Brother podcast. And he shared something that I was like, I really believe this. And I found an example that I think really kind of encapsulates what we're talking about. So you know what? I can turn off my get in trouble music because I don't think I'm going to get in trouble. I think y'all agree with me. So clearly, either we all going to get in trouble or nobody going to get in trouble. I'm going to go with nobody gets in trouble. Oh, well, there we go. I agree. As a black man, that's why I say that black fathers need to be in the home. I got no problem saying it. Matter of fact, I was talking to a liberal friend of mine. This person is a liberal and he is a male. And I expressed to him that the problem is that, and he's married. And I said, hey, the problem is that we don't encourage he has a bunch of boys, right? And so we're not encouraging our boys to get married and to stay married till death do them part. Because he's been married for a good little hot minute. So he and his wife have been married for a while. None of his boys are married or anything of that nature. And I said, man, we're not encouraging our boy. And you know what? He actually amened it. And I said, that's the problem with our society. Ain't got nothing to do with all the stuff that you believe. The biggest problem with our community, our people group, is the fact that we are not in our households. And he had to admit it. I was like, wow. I said, clearly either the Lord is good and he's moving on, the world is healing, the Lord is good, or, today was April Fool's. I don't know. I don't think it was April Fool's though. Let's look at this video, Jason. Stop talking, man. Shout out to everybody up in here. I appreciate all of y'all for sure. This is a good one. And I'm going to go over an article that kind of shows what I'm talking about. So let's go. All right. Shout out to the Ask a Brother podcast. And link is down in the description. All right. Greenheart's in chat when you can hear.
We talk about black on black crime. We talk about the undocumented immigrants coming through. I think the most destabilizing group in all of the country is liberal white women, because there isn't an ideology that's harmful that they won't adopt and push in throughout all society, on their kids, in the educational system, in the workplace, and in what's it called, the psychology field, the mental health field. Wherever they are, things get worse. And I'm what the hell is going on? And I'm like, it's so bad. And they think that they're so empowered. I just was sharing clips today about they're now trying to police black people who are no longer identified as liberals or Democrats they're like saying, oh, you're a sellout, you a house slave. I'm like, these are liberal white women who...
Oh yeah, I've seen videos of that. It's like, my God, it's like, I've always said, just scratch the surface of a leftist and you got a racist, right? And it's not even deep below the, it's like right there. It's right there.
In the wild part is, this is why I've been trying to tell conservatives and independents and even moderates, like, you can't completely downplay white supremacy completely, because all you got to do is piss off liberal white people, and you're gonna see this whole other side. You're gonna like they're gonna tell you how you could vote, who you could stand for, how oppressed you are.
All right. Shout out to
I'm gonna
shout
argue,
out to the
we
Ask
talk
a Brother
about
podcast.
black
Let
on
me
black
put it back up.
crime.
Yeah,
We
okay,
talk
see.
about the undocumented immigrants coming through.
I thought
think
that was right on the button. I said, you know what? I can't argue with that. I cannot disagree with that. I said, man, and it just so happened that I ran across an article that just like right after I heard that, I ran across an article and a YouTuber that talked about it. So that was kind of funny about this exact article. And let me just pull it up. Black businessman bullied into dumping plans for a new nightclub after white liberal women told him the name was racist. You can't make this stuff up, y'all. Let me zoom in a little bit better. There we go. Just in case you couldn't see that. So a black man wants to open up a business and white liberal women tell him, I thought it was an April Fool's joke. I really did. I'm like, maybe this is an April Fool's. It's published today. Maybe, maybe they're trying to Shanghai me. As far as I know, it's not. As far as I know, I can't tell that it's a grift. I can't tell. But look, a black Kansas city businessman has been forced to scrap his plans to open up a new nightclub after a local football fan club comprised mainly of liberal white women complained that the name was racist. Like the name of his club was racist. That's crazy work, y'all. And even, I hate to say it, but even if it was a joke or even if it was a bit for April Fools, it still makes sense because we've heard it in other instances. We've heard it in other instances with black ICE agents being called all kinds of deplorable names. We've heard it in so many instances. Cassio McComb said this week is deeply disappointed that his plans to open up a nightclub named Sundown Hi-Fi were halted due to outcry from the KC Blue Club, a supporters club for women's soccer team KC Current. That's a really weird. Okay. The Sundown name was deemed by the group to be a reference to the sundown town, a 19th century term for all white communities that would practice racial segregation and terrorize any black people unfortunate enough to find themselves on the streets after dark. The nightclub was set to be open in a development site named the Current Landing. I guess that's near the soccer club, located near the CPKC Stadium, leading the women's group to issue a statement arguing that the Sundown name would tarnish the sports area. I'm just going to jump down here to the bottom. So here's the guy. Here's the brother right here. And all right, how many septum rings you think we're going to see up in here? All right. Here they are. Here they are. Here they are. So they determined that the name of the man's club, and he's going to talk about why he chose that name. The name of the man's club was racist. These women determined that his name of his club, his dance club, was racist. And so this is the area. This is what a lot of cities are doing. Shout out to a lot of these cities that are trying to create this live, work, play type of community. This looks pretty dope, though. I ain't gonna lie. That looks pretty nice. We have one here in Atlanta called the Battery. It is outstanding. They do a great job there. It's a fantastic live, work, play. The Braves just opened up their season this week, and it looks like it's going to be a great season. Lots of good activity goes on. If they're going to do something like that here, it's going to be probably going to be pretty well. It's going to do really well. And those have become very popular around. I'm just going to show you some pictures. Where's the other picture? Here's an example. And this is what they wrote to the leadership. We ask that KC Current leadership and Palmer Square Real Estate Management take ownership of their mistake and not only select a different name for the venue, but also publicly acknowledge what they will be doing as an organization to help bring to light the incredibly rich history and accomplishments of our city's African-American population, instead of bringing attention to the city and the state's racist history. Like the dude, and in a minute, he's going to talk about why. It's not lost on us that the name of this nightclub was announced just weeks after the team's theme night were released, showing that they will not be highlighting Juneteenth this season. So I don't think Juneteenth needs to be celebrated. That's me. Once again, Blue Crew, this is the liberal white women, rejects any and all racist efforts, not just in soccer, but in our society. We love our team, our city, and our neighbors too much to remain silent on this. So they determine, here it is right here. Does this shock anybody? Does this shock anyone? I see like 5 men, or probably people that identify as men. The rest of them, and they determined that this man's name of his nightclub was racist. This group of people determined that and said he can't change it. He can't have it there. Now, granted, I don't know why he didn't just A, push back, B, change the name. I don't understand that. I don't know why he would change the name either way. So I don't think he should change the name, but like these women determined that he should not be able to open up a club. So he said this. Sundown was a name with a lot of purpose, meaning, and thought behind it. I want to acknowledge respectfully as an African-American man. I'm just going to say black man because I'm sick of African-American. As a black man raised in the South, that I am more than aware of the painful history connected. Yeah, bigger screen. Okay. Connected to the phrase sundown in a certain context, particularly in the phrase sundown town. That history is real and and it matters. At the same time, I believe it is deeply unfortunate to allow that history to permanently taint language that describes one of the most universal human experiences imaginable. The concern being raised is about avoiding potential harm to a community, yet the outcome of that concern is the stifling of a creative expression coming directly from someone within that very community. That is a difficult contradiction to sit with. And he said something else here. I'm deeply disappointed to share that the Sundown Hi-Fi will no longer be moving forward at the current landing. For many, a bar is simply a place to serve drinks. For me, it is never that simple. I've spent over a decade investing myself in Kansas City, not just professionally, but personally, creatively, and culturally. When I create, I don't do it halfway. I bring my full perspective, my lived experiences, and my intention to build something that contributes meaningfully to the community. Selling drinks alone has never been enough. The Sundown Hi-Fi was designed to be a layered and intersection of sound, architecture, culture, and story. Every detail was considered: the aesthetics, the function, the experience, and yes, the name. All right, so that's where it would have been, somewhere down here. The nightclub was just days away from being opened, and I don't know why he didn't just change the name or something, or I don't know. I don't know why these women had the ability to. Can you imagine these women out here protesting that? That's some crazy work. That is some bona fide shenanigans, y'all. Like, wait, I don't know. I kind of wish, I'm kind of hoping that this was an April Fool's prank. I ain't gonna lie, because it just doesn't make sense. Like, why did you not push back? Let these women come out there and protest. Like, let that optic sit out there. I don't get it. But anyway, my point was, liberal white women at it again. Like, they're literally telling you what is acceptable. That's some crazy work, man. That is some grade A crazy work. What do y'all think about that? That's just crazy. How do you get away with that? And you get away with it. That's the part that just completely boggles the mind. Like, she got away. They got away with it. And that should never be the case. I don't think that should ever have been given any kind of quarter at all. All right. Shout out to the best live chat. Yeah, absolutely, man. Liberal women, man. All right. All right. What does it say? But if you're a man who has interests and hobbies outside of the norm and you forge your own path or lives slightly less traditionally, you're a total follower and a sheep who can't think for yourself. Really? I'm not certain. I'm not certain. When I understand that. Yeah, I'll leave that one alone. They are allowed to just run amok, no consequences. Well, the problem is, Mickey, I don't think those women run. Period. I don't think they run. Let me pull the picture back up. I'm pretty certain. I feel comfortable in saying that these women don't run. I don't think they run amok. I mean, am I wrong? Tell me, did I misinterpret something? I don't think they run amok. They might do something amok, but it is definitely not running. Running is not present in the chat at all. I mean, I'm just saying it, let me know if I'm wrong now, please. Pun intended. Absolutely. I stand correct. They run their mouths. I don't know. That might expend too much energy. Like that might expend a lot of energy right there. Shout out for sure. That was really out of control, Jason. I'm gonna put myself in 0-second timeout. Put my own self in 0-second. Okay. Let me because I'm gonna put a cap on this, put the icing on this. Tomorrow is Thursday. We like to do body cams on Thursday, and I think that's good. I'm having fun doing Thankful Thursdays with body cam. The only problem is I'm taking Lady Dear Woke Christian out. So we're gonna have to start the show a little bit early tomorrow, or we're gonna have to do it later. Or we'll do like a morning show. One or the other. We have to figure out. Maybe I'll do a poll or something. A morning show or like a 3 o'clock in the afternoon because I got to be done by like 6 because we got our reservations at 7 o'clock. Or like 10 o'clock at night. And don't do 10 o'clock at night, please, because your boy already be like this sometimes. All right, don't do that to me. Anyway, I found a body cam that kind of encapsulates the liberal woman experience. And I thought it was great because it's satisfying. I hate to be like that. I hate to do that. It's satisfying. I'm sorry. You're gonna want you want the outcome that happens. I'm gonna spoiler alert it for you. You're gonna get what you want to happen. Okay. But it's satisfying to watch this woman because this woman is out of control. She's being accosted by black detectives and she's out of control. She's out of pocket. And you want her to get justice. You want I want her to go to jail. Let me just pull it in. Let me stop talking. Because it's satisfying. I don't know how to say it another way. It was refreshing, to say the least. You know what else is refreshing? Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
On September 27, 2024, officers were conducting a traffic stop when the individual's mother arrived on scene, causing a disturbance.
Yo, mama, show up.
First of all, you in your car. I office when you're in your Okay, y'all make it out. You can stop surrounding first. You get out the street. He just told me.
This is I'm telling y'all, this is satisfying. If you're like me, I was already a minute in. I'm waiting for her to get tackled. I'm waiting for her to body slam them to body slam her to the ground. I'm waiting for it, but it's gonna come. Stay there.
Right here on the sidewalk. Okay, that's nice. It's your house.
That's not a brake light, ma'am. That's not a brake light.
What's out? Your brake light. So who's the sergeant? Who's the sergeant? So all of y'all know what sergeant showed. I know she asked for a sergeant. I know for a fact. I know she asked for a sergeant because I was on the phone. So which of y'all didn't give a sergeant?
You did not.
I was on the phone on the street. Was you talking about? Oh yeah, you need to get out of the road for you get in trouble too.
Okay, we'll get you a supervisor. You can go wait and start your business.
I'll wait right here. Okay, I'm in the saddle.
Will you do me a huge favor? Will you do me a huge favor? Yes. Just stay away from your door. Either get in or stay away just because I don't want cars coming up. Okay.
Okay, that's all we got. What else is there? Tell me what happened. So we don't have to do this. She's pulled over because of her.
Have no fear. Brother man right here, he got white Air Force Ones on. It's going to go okay. But my girls over here, shout out to them. They got them black Sambas on. Shout out to the black Sambas. Y'all know, Adidas, you know. If you know, you know. Shout out to the black Sambas. I'm team black Sambas. I got a pair of them right over there. I got a pair of them. I love my Sambas. Okay. Off topic.
We're not at your apartment.
What's up? Because I seen you in that black car.
I'm not here to argue. We're going to get our apartment. We're going to get our apartment. We're going to get our apartment. But we're going to get our sergeant. You can answer. I'm not yelling. I'm talking. There's cars coming
Here,
by.
how about this?
What you want? See right out your apartment. Man, you don't own that. That's private property. Right. Get an apartment. That's not your house. Get an apartment. In an apartment. Right. We weren't in your apartment. We were in the complex that does not belong to you. Did you have something to do? It doesn't belong to you. It's not yours, man. How many police officers does it take to pull somebody over?
We're all right together. We're detectives.
Oh, you ride D like that?
Yes, we do.
No, absolutely not.
Yes, we do.
So you ride with them everywhere you go?
He's not I'm in the back car by myself.
Okay.
He's
So
not
you can pull him over? You can pull her over by yourself?
I wasn't out here. All right, it's what's time. So
Yeah, go ahead, y'all.
Because you keep it up. Will both y'all come here? No, will both y'all come here, please? So basically, to give my rundown of what I'm at, where I'm at.
Am I not having a problem? Do you not see this as a problem?
Can both y'all come over here?
All
right, come here.
What do I need?
Come here. All right, no, you can come here. Hey, come here. No, come here. Ma'am.
You're coming at me. That's on camera. What does that mean? Back up. Because you're coming at me. You're coming at me. Get up.
Just look here.
Tell her to back up.
I will.
She keeps coming up to us.
Can we
She
go
needs
in
back.
between y'all's cars? Please.
Tell her to back up. Do it now. If you're happy, tell her to back up.
Will y'all come back?
Tell her to back up.
Will y'all come to the front of y'all's car?
Can you
Please?
tell her to shut up?
Can y'all just give me a second, y'all? Give me a second. All right.
She's coming at us.
Come on. All right, come on, y'all.
You're gonna be threatened in a second. You're gonna be threatened.
Come up here. Come holler at me.
Yes.
Come holler at me. All right. Okay, from my understanding, okay, I'm on patrol today, okay? These are investigators. They usually do, on certain cases, they do ride quite a few investigators in one car.
Yeah.
Okay? They performed a traffic stop on your daughter, right?
Yes.
Okay, on your daughter. Okay.
Why the woman acting like it's odd that police are in the same car if there's only one car? They didn't just, one wasn't on the bus. Then that means they're all riding in the same car. Like, why are you upset because they're riding in the same car? Like, that's just dumb. That's just ignorant behavior. But don't worry. You will be vindicated, you all. Don't worry. Have no fear.
I'm not familiar.
But the thing is, you can't even ask them because they want to sit here and they don't want to answer nothing.
I'm working the road. Okay?
I know. I was married to a cop, so I know.
Well, he ain't married to you now, though.
Investigators, they don't usually carry around ticket books.
So y'all gave her a ticket for life.
And all that. I didn't. They just asked for the paper.
You know why?
Asked, okay?
You know why? Because they want proof of why they stopped her.
So what I would do, all right?
She asked for a sergeant already. They did not get for
I'm
me.
not a sergeant.
I understand that. They said they're waiting on you to.
I'm an MPO.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm a little.
Asking for a sergeant doesn't change the fact that you got a ticket. That doesn't change anything. That's just asking for the manager. That doesn't mean you're going to get a discount. You can want a discount. Let me talk to your manager. The manager might not give it to you. You still going to pay full price. And you're going to pay full price in a minute.
Something I'm not there yet, okay?
But they asked for you because they said they didn't have no tickets, and she asked right then because her dad's a police officer.
So that's basically what I'm doing. As far as I know, they were investigating another case.
And they won't even tell when they're at
You're
her.
referencing the apartment complex.
Yes,
over on,
right here.
Okay, that I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm totally unaware. Okay, I'm gonna tell you straight up. I was called here to bring a paper citation.
Why does it matter where he rides or whatever? That's none of their damn business.
There was questions about somebody went on it.
I got you. So the best way to go about this, all right, is not out here. All right. So those are all investigators.
Okay.
The best way to go about it, they have Sergeant K. Rowe Jackson. Okay. They have Sergeant Todd Hendricks back there in CID.
Okay, but I got a question for you.
Okay. Go ahead.
If I come at you like this, are you gonna be afraid?
No.
I
If I come
would.
at you,
I
why is
would.
it okay she comes at me? Why is it okay that she walked up here to us, and if I walk there, she says, you can get arrested too.
Because you
I was in
can.
the middle. He asked me to move it out of the road. She goes, you either get in here or you going to jail.
One of the problems, if you have children, one of the terms that came up real popular in the early 2000s was called helicopter parents. And they've morphed into other things as well. Parachute parents, whatever like that. They won't allow their children to actually grow up and actually deal with real consequences for their behavior. So apparently, if I'm understanding it correctly, I'm giving you a little spoiler alert, a little behind the scenes. This car was in an apartment complex that the detectives were scanning out, were scoping out. They saw this car. Now it's a white girl driving with 3 black men in the car. So something about those men caused them to look at the car a little bit more intently. And she had a busted taillight or burned out taillight. And now we're off to the races. So let's see what happens. All right, here we go. Let's go.
I will say in as non-biased as possible, I'm not going to condone anybody's behavior out here thus far. Okay.
I fully get it.
Can we
I
agree
fully
on that?
yes. But don't surround my daughter and don't ask. When I was on the phone, and I'm on the phone and I hear none of them getting a sergeant. I come from Jackson and I still haven't got a sergeant out here. 30 minutes.
That's something I was also unaware of. Okay. I was unaware of the notification.
They even talked to her father. He's a police officer.
Either way.
And they didn't do nothing about it. They're still sitting here like, I mean.
What you need to do if you have any issues with that, okay?
Where's the sergeant?
I guess standing by waiting to see what
But why is it okay? And I'm not trying to call it. Why is it every time a white girl and a black guy get together, there is a problem down here? I understand. But they say something every time to her with a black guy.
Every time I get
It's 2020.
why I have a black guy on my phone.
The irony here is going to have to be studied by science. We're going to need future generations to study this. 2 white women are telling a white man that it's racist that 3 black cops pulled the white girl over. I don't even understand this. Like, this is some crazy work. We're going to need to study this by
He done got
science.
pulled over like 3 times.
This is my family. Like, this is my family. Is it because we're different colors? Like, they have
Do
something
you have, so how many times has that been?
3.
a lot.
3 so far.
What I'm going to say in the same reference to what you're arguing with over here, you need to go to the PD. Okay, if you have any issue with anything that's been going on, any record of it, if you have anything
She
what
had
you
one
got going
over.
on, so what I would do is I would go to the PD, okay?
Did you show your ID when she asked you?
Yeah, did something. He identified themselves as police officers. You want to see my ID? I'll show you my ID.
Did you show my daughter when you pulled her over?
I didn't pull her over.
Are you in that car?
He's in the car behind them.
I left Jackson and y'all still haven't got a sergeant here. I was 30 minutes away and still beat your sergeant. Bullshit. Bullshit.
Ma'am, I'm sorry.
Here she comes.
I need a card. They've been on the way this whole time. Can I have y'all's names and everything since y'all don't have nothing on?
I let her know all my information.
I asked for her. I asked, can you give me a pen? How do you pull some over here and you don't have a card?
We don't always
You're not even in full clothes. Ma'am, I want to know questions, and ma'am, you have to answer them. Ma'am, you have to answer them.
Ma'am is crazy work. Ma'am is crazy work. I'm telling you, she got black sambas on. You better watch out. I'm telling you. You know what? Let me go ahead and tell y'all ahead of time.
Girl, you're going to jail. Said you're going to jail tonight. That lady's going to jail. You're going to jail tonight. That lady's going to jail. Said you're going to jail tonight. That lady's going to jail. Said you're going to jail tonight.
Can't get no better than that. Let's go.
She did the same thing, and you didn't do nothing.
Giving you an order to step over there.
I asked her to step away from me.
Step over there.
I want y'all's information.
And we will give it to you once our sergeant comes.
When is your sergeant coming? You gotta have time.
Can you step over there? That's the last time I'm gonna ask you.
I'm leaving.
Step over there.
Here it goes. Come on.
Calm down.
I mean, we get a 2 for 1. Come on.
She cannot grab me like this.
But she can. But she will.
cannot grab me like this.
Okay. I haven't done nothing.
But I'm gonna go 10-8, okay?
Right. Get somebody else out here. Right.
Get out
This
of
is
the
not
car.
safe.
Get in your car. Yeah, I'm going to the police.
And you keep
Get
touching me.
Get up. I'm down. Let go. I'm respecting you. I should get off. Sorry. I'm sorry.
Don't worry.
They're good. When I asked her multiple times to step back, and pilot was like, "I'm going 10-8. Like, we did something wrong."
Let go. Our supervisor's here. Back up. Supervisor's here.
Wait, what's back up me? Wait, hold on, wait. Have no fear, y'all. Don't fear. Don't worry, y'all. Don't worry.
They're not doing nothing about it.
What do you want with me, man?
I want to know, one, why my daughter was pulled over. 2, why they were at her apartments.
Are you part of this traffic stop?
Yes, I am. No, I was on the side.
Take her to
Okay.
that spot.
For what? I'm asking a question.
Yes,
You
baby.
have all these undercovers.
You're
No,
obstructing.
sir.
Stay in the
I asked
car.
a question, James.
Stay in the car.
Get in the car.
Get back in the car if you want to go too.
Get in the car.
No,
Get in the car.
Get in the car if you want to go. If you want to go too.
Sir,
Do we need to play the song again?
are you serious?
Yeah, we're very serious. Hold on. I need the song again. We gotta do the song again. I'm sorry. We just gotta do it again.
Girl, you're going to jail. Said you're going to jail tonight. That lady's going to jail. You're going to jail tonight. That lady's going to jail. Said you're going to jail tonight. That lady's going to jail. Said you're going to jail tonight.
There you is. Let's go.
Get back in the car, boy. Get in the car. Get in the car.
What's back up mean?
Get her in the car. Get her in the car.
You can tell him down there.
I ain't driving. I can't just walk out and leave.
My man said I had to walk away.
She's going regardless. Do you want to go with your mom? Do you want to go with your mom? You was about to be on your way. All this is extra. You was about to be on your way. All this is extra. Close the door. I won't have to talk to you.
You pulled up on a traffic stop.
I'll get there quick.
I was asking a question.
Yes, come on.
Do you have anyone that can drive you?
I was asking a question because they were at my daughter's house.
Okay.
So
You
she was
can't pull up on a traffic stop and interfere with law.
I'm assuming that the food must be really good in jail. That's what I've concluded. Because I've never seen a big back, high calorie woman not go to jail. And I'm like, do they serve good food there? Like, is it like, do they get Chick-fil-A night on Friday? What are they serving there that you really want to go to jail so bad? I don't understand it. I just don't understand it. Like, what about it is so exciting to you? You was acting a fool, ma'am. Incarceritis has entered the chat. They must have some really good food. I don't know, because this big back woman is about to get her big back in a police car and then talked herself into it. And her car is about to go to car jail. I told y'all, when you see police officers in black Sambas, don't play with them. Do not play with them. Leave them alone. It's kind of like black Air Force Ones. Don't mess with them. Leave them people alone. They just built differently. I bet you this man got some black Air Force Ones on. This is Georgia. Y'all, they in Georgia.
201 here, and you still haven't showed up.
I'm telling you, if I would have heard your daughter ask me for a cop,
She got my husband on the phone. He's a police. My ex-husband. He's a police officer.
That is not Georgia. No, it's not Georgia.
So, ma'am, I
Thank
promise
God.
on my daddy's gas. She said,
Look back here. You going to car jail, man?
She was talking. She said, ma'am. So it's one of y'all. Can you please say I was not trying to interrupt you, but I was asking a question.
You're all up in it. How can you not be
Because my
interrupted?
daughter is scared because they're
They're on the phone with me, and all I can hear is you yelling.
They won't even give their
can't even
ID.
do their
They
job.
won't even give their ID.
Girl, you going to
did.
jail?
Yes, ma'am, you did, and you have ID on you. They don't. You got this one.
My
and
man
this
over
one that
here
doesn't have
got the legendary jeans on and everything.
Please,
You going to jail?
please stop touching me.
Please put her in the car and get her. I'm trying to clear the scene. She needs to get in the car.
Can you please?
Ma'am, it's just not. Get her in the car, please. Get her in the car. You need to leave.
Ma'am,
You need
to the car. To the car. To the
Big
car.
bag.
Let's go.
Big bag.
Leave before.
Okay, it's funny because the brothers that was in the car, they said, look, I don't know what they was planning on doing with this girl, but I'm gonna tell you right now, they said it is not worth it. Whatever it was, it is not worth it. And they said, we can go, we are gone. Notice the car is empty now. And in a minute, it's gonna be real empty. Just letting you know.
You go too.
The odor of marijuana, it's in the chat. She trying to put her seatbelt on. Girl, you ain't going nowhere. You're not going nowhere but to jail and your car to car jail. You ain't going nowhere.
Thank you.
Is it Utah?
You have a good rest of your night.
And I hope you enjoy your night.
Crank up your car and leave.
Stop talking to me. And you still keep talking to me. What?
Leave.
Can y'all step away from my car?
Go.
Please step away from my
Go.
car.
Go.
I'm gonna tell you one more time. Go.
I can't move.
I'm telling you right now.
Open the door.
Open the door. Open the door. Open the door.
I cannot move.
The
Open
world
the door.
is healing
I
itself.
cannot move.
Get out the car. You're under arrest. For obstruction.
If it's any consolation, she didn't have her seatbelt on, so she didn't really plan on going anywhere anyway. She didn't have her seatbelt on. She pulled it and never put it on. And then was like, get out of my way. Stop talking to me. She busy telling him not to talk. And guess what? Now you're going to take the walk. Your car is going to car jail. You and your big back mama are going to jail. Let's go. They got 19 police officers up in here.
I tried to leave and you wouldn't let me leave.
That's some glorious stuff.
Both women were arrested for obstruction and taken to jail. Thanks for watching today's video. If you haven't already, please
That was
like and
some glorious
subscribe
stuff
for more
right
of
there,
our
y'all. I don't care what nobody say. I don't care what nobody say. We need that. We need that in our lives. We need that type of healing in the world. We need that. Oh, that's some good stuff. Woo. All right. Shout out to the best live chat on the internet. Yeah, they're entitled because their mama was entitled. The mom came out of pocket. Remember that time we watched the parents that came in all hot because the daughter, the windows were too tinted, and the mom ran up on the police officer like she was about to fight him. It was craziness, man. Like these people, y'all, again, now I'm not certain by God's grace, I've never had to deal with my children pulled over by police or whatnot like that. But I'm more than likely, I'm pretty sure I'm going to probably do the exact same thing my dad did to me when I called him when I had gotten in high school and I had gotten myself. I got myself put in jail. My dad said, and what you gonna do about that? He gonna stay there. And I remember the night because it was Thursday and we watched Cosby Show on Thursday. And I was like, Lord, I know I'm calling my dad, calling my mom. And my dad's like, I'm watching Cosby Show. And then it was going to be a different world after that. And he's got to watch the news. My dad left me up and I got in trouble at the after the football game at the McDonald's. Everybody goes to McDonald's. I got in trouble. They was fighting. I was just being an observer, doing the most, got myself arrested and was down there in jail. And my dad left me there as long as, I'm not even being funny. I think my dad came and got me at like 1 o'clock in the morning. It was really late. And I'm like, and my dad told me, I don't work to give money to jail. We don't pay for jail. And that's been my mantra from now forward. I'm like, I was converted. That was the first time, and the only time. I don't even go to jail, to the courthouse. I don't even try to get parking tickets. I don't even mess with it. My dad said, we don't go there. And he converted me. I was converted. Now, some people get converted through the preaching of the gospel. Some people get converted through the revelation of the gospel, or the tribulation, more importantly, of the gospel. I was converted through the tribulation because I don't go to jail. I just know I'm just not going to do it. And James Whitaker did a great job. Shout out to my dad. He did a great job. He converted your boy. He got your boy converted. I love it. Okay, now we got one of two options, ladies and gentlemen. We got one of two options. There has been some more shenanigans. You know what? We're gonna talk about this one. There's been some more shenanigans as it relates to the 2020 election here in Georgia. I don't know if y'all heard about this, but there's been more uncoverings, more unearthing, if you will, that the 2020 election was a scam here in Georgia, in Fulton County specifically. It is becoming very, very extremely clear. If you don't think that it's clear that the 2020 election was a scam here in Georgia, I don't know what to tell you. I really don't know what to tell you, because it was clearly a scam. Well, some more bad news came out for the Georgia State Elections Board. Let's just do this one very quickly. Shout out to Robert Guerra, excellent content creator, link down in the description. And let's check this out, because I thought this was super interesting. And you may have already heard this, you may not. Real quick, Green Hearts in the chat when you can hear.
who's been on this case for a long time, and now we're all coming in here to make our voices heard. As with the DOJ, we have been frustrated, even when the documents were literally ordered to be produced by the court or available electronically with the push of a button. We can't get them. And guess what? 316,000 ballots, or 60% of all ballots cast in Fulton County, had a problem. No tabulator tapes. 20,713 ballots were counted as votes, despite the fact that there was no or scant evidence of the provenance of those ballots. Where did they come from? The Georgia State Election Board now unleashing, submitting an amicus brief saying, Judge, you absolutely have to enable the FBI and the DOJ to keep those ballots. Pallets full of ballots were already seized. And now the board of Fulton County, the commissioners, they want those ballots back. And they brought in some of the most high-powered Democrat lawyers that we've covered here, guys like Abby Lowell and Norm Eisen, to come out and help them get those ballots returned to their possession. But remember that we've seen
Why do they need them,
very
though?
interesting people who have been on this.
What do they want the ballots for? They're 6 years old. It's like you're fighting over, some blockbuster VHS tapes. Like, what is the purpose of the ballots now? I'm not trying to be funny. I really don't. Now, I understand, but why are they fighting so much for old ballots? That just seems weird, because they weren't using them for anything. It's like you're using them, like you're fighting to get them back so you can put them back in the basement. Like, well, what do you want them for? I don't get that part. Okay, let's go.
For quite some time. And the Georgia Election Board is a body of people who've been investigating this for some time. And so I wanted to just share this with you, some names. They submitted this into the court, and the amici, the friends of the court, they're not a party to the case, but they're saying, hey, we're another government entity who's been on this case for a long time. Judge, you don't know anything about it, but we do. And now we're all coming in here to make our voices heard. We've got Janice Johnson. We've got Janelle
Absolutely.
King. Sally Grubbs are present members of the Georgia State Election Board. They're on the board right now. We also have Rick Jafaris, a former Georgia state senator and former member of the Georgia State Election Board. Got Mark Wingate, Michael Heekin, former members of Fulton County and elections and registration, and this other guy called David Hancock, Roy McLean, Charlene Alexander. They are members of election boards of other counties whose citizens are also impacted by the Fulton County fraud. If you're in a different county over, maybe your county's not as problematic as Fulton County is, but if they rig the
Shout out to
election, it's one
Cobb.
of the biggest counties in Georgia, if not the biggest, and that means that their votes are now disproportionately impacted and may not count. Now, these actions by the DOJ to ensure that the constitutional rights of Georgia voters are actually treated equally are, in our view, absolutely necessary to reinstill confidence in Georgia's election system with the citizens of Georgia and the rest of us, because Georgia was a key state back in 2020. It had the water main break, and then all of a sudden, guess what? Joe Biden wins by about 12,000 votes. So amici are immediate past and current members of the board. We've been involved in a bunch of these cases. We are very familiar with the irregularities here, identified in the affidavit written by Special Agent Ray Evans. But our collective efforts have not provided any answers to the numerous questions that we have collectively raised over, look at this, they did the math, 5 years, 4 months, and 23 days. They know how to count time and days. They can count, which is not something that's common for the Board of Commissioners. As documented in our brief, our efforts have not been met with compliance by Georgia or with the laws as written, but it has been obstruction by county and state officials against any attempt to investigate these irregularities. Even for members of the Georgia State Board, we have a legislated, mandated duty to investigate this, and they're still not complying with them. Now, of course, we have, obviously a lot of concerns with this. I think the conflict of interest is manifest. Why? On one hand, if you rig an election that you win, then you have power, right? You are in power. You get the benefit of your fraud. So if that's one reason why having you investigate yourself is a problem. And secondarily, if you, let's say, did not ultimately win, or you were not a part of this investigation, or of the election, in other words, you didn't benefit from the fraud directly, but your job is to run actual free and fair elections, and you didn't do that, then that means that we are uncovering your incompetence or your willfulness in enabling the fraud. And so your interest is in investigating yourself and finding that you did nothing at all wrong. So we have sought many of the same documents that the DOJ is now trying to get. We have, without access to those documents that we have not been able to get, we can't even do our legislatively mandated duties. So we have conducted investigations and overseen election issues as directed by law and have attempted to review many of the documents that the DOJ wants. And as with the DOJ, we have been frustrated in all our polite and lawful requests for review of the documents, even when the documents were literally ordered to be produced by the court or available electronically with the push of a button. We can't get them. There is very little personal information that needs any privacy protection. There is no protected personal information in the documents that we seek. It is not routinely the subject of investigation. There are no valid concerns being expressed with respect to the review of these documents by licensed investigators. So there is
Y'all are giving some really good ideas or reasons why, because I really didn't understand it. You know, they're trying to hide their fraud. They don't want people to audit it. They don't want to compare the voter rolls to people that actually voted. Those are some good points. I appreciate y'all for that, because I'm like, what is the purpose? So I think it's fair to say Fulton County doesn't plan on doing anything with them. They just don't want the FBI doing anything with them, which I think is spot on the money.
No
He
reason
does talk fast.
for the
He does.
expressions of shock that are exhibited by the Fulton fraudsters who continue to obstruct the investigations by manufactured claims of outrage over normal government oversight. On election night, one of the amici who's a part of this, Mr. Mark Wingate, who is a Fulton County Board of Registration and Elections member, they were given unsatisfactory responses to the questions raised with respect to the election, including the low turnout of voters on election day, which subsequently became a much larger turnout when they needed to shove the ballots in there, and the lack of any signature verification for mail-in ballots, even though signature verification was mandated by the law. The election staff ultimately confirmed to Mr. Wingate that no signature verification, had been done in the 2020 general election. Wow. His questions about the accuracy of the voter registration files were never answered. And this is not crazy, by the way. Okay, we saw this in multiple other states. Signature requirements was too complicated back during the COVID era, because if you check the signature, then you have a problem whereby you might have to reject the signature, and that's disenfranchising somebody. So that was a big problem for them. So they just waved them in. In fact, I believe it was Wisconsin. I'd have to double check this. But there was one county that let you just go register online, and a bunch of people registered online, and then they got sued and they stopped doing that. So in 2020, mail-in ballots in the general election in Fulton, that accounted for almost 150,000 ballots in Fulton County, or almost 30% of the total. The 2020 election was unique because of COVID. It was going to kill everybody, with many more mail-in votes than normal, and many more absentee ballots and absentee ballot applications mailed than would normally be the case. Yeah. In the first election in which drop boxes were used, there were allegations of impropriety in the use of those drop boxes. They were abounding, and they have not been addressed. The Secretary of State entered into a consent decree, which we saw this happen all the time, okay? You had Democratic entities, the Retired Alliance of America, and the League of Women Voters, blah, blah, blah. All these 501c3s, all operating, filing lawsuits. They would sue the secretaries, and it would be like this friendly patty cake game. The secretaries would then turn around and say, well, yeah, you're right. It is an emergency. And all the governors were issuing statewide emergencies so they could do whatever they want, including locking you in your homes, throwing you out of your businesses, having the cops show up to your residence or to your place of worship, for crying out loud, whatever they wanted. So then the secretaries would enter, they'd get sued by a friendly entity, and then enter into a consent decree, making signatures by individuals and the verifications even more convoluted than normal. Mr. Wingate and Dr. Kathleen Ruth, in other words, and these agreements by the secretaries and these plaintiffs were usurping power away from the actual legislature that governs time, place, and manner of the election.
So just in case somebody's wondering, I think Robert speeds up his voice. I can't confirm it, but I think he speeds it up because he is cooking. I'm like, my gosh, how are you talking this fast? Now it might just be normal, but I can't speed it up any to kind of get the video done because he's already talking so fast. Anyway, I just want to say that. Shout out to Robert.
The manner was being subverted by these consent decrees. The secretaries were unconstitutionally entering into them, bypassing the regular rules that were already on the books. And the governors were like, well, it's an emergency. So whatever, do whatever you want. Thing was ridiculous. And look at some of these claims. They say these are uninvestigated issues. Remember, they tell us all the time, we investigate. Okay, we did an audit. So just shut up and stop being a fascist. One complaint to the SEB, the state election board, the amici on this, alleged numerous violations, including serious allegations of ballot stuffing, duplicate ballots, missing ballot images, gone. Another complaint alleged the failure to maintain certified records, which are tabulator tapes for early voting. And guess what? 316,000 ballots, or 60% of all ballots cast in Fulton County, had a problem. No tabulator tapes. Law says you have to have that. They say, well, it's an administrative error. And it's not intentional, okay? So yet another complaint, which was actually validated by Governor Brian Kemp, noted that the batch cover sheets in the election recounts had been falsified to add nearly 7,000 votes to the totals based on non-existent ballots. During the course of these complaints, Nadine Williams, the executive director of the FCBRE at the time, confirmed that all ballot images from election day were deleted, gone. Then there was another one, SEB 025.
Crazy.
It also verified that there were 3,930 duplicated ballots apparently created by selecting portions of previously scanned batches to create new batches of ballots, which were then shoved through the machines a second time. Ballots duplicated in this manner would indicate intentional conduct to add ballots to the recount. But that cannot be verified for investigation without actually looking at the ballots. Without more information, standards for future recounts cannot be identified. Now, they also noted, look at this number, that 20,713 ballots were counted as votes, despite the fact that there was no or scant evidence of the provenance of those ballots. Where'd they come from? That provenance cannot be confirmed or denied without further review of those ballots, the numbered voter list, and possibly more information that has not yet been found. And what was the margin in Georgia? About 11,800 votes. So something like that shifts the numbers. Further, when the Secretary of State's general counsel, called Charlene McGowan, presented the results of the investigation, she falsely claimed, some might say lied, that the ballot images were not retained because they were not required to be retained or maintained in the 2020 election. False. True. Later, she refused to allow Dr. Johnson to review the files that contain the ballot images from the recount unless Dr. Johnson agreed to close the investigation. I'll let you look at it, but if you find anything, you can't do anything with it. Dr. Johnson did not agree to that demand, and after much resistance, she was able to review the electronic files in a confined space on a dedicated terminal without access to, quote, the exhibit that had initially been made a part of the report. So they shove her in a skiff. She can't see anything. What she saw in that environment shocked her, as the files had been modified after the election. Why'd they have to do that? The vast majority of the precinct counts did not match the reported totals, and the files had been visibly altered after the election. Many were missing the required SHA file, the secured hashtag algorithm that are needed to verify that the files had not been modified. October 4, 2024, and again on November 5, 2025, the state election board, the people who were behind this amici, they issued subpoenas, the first and second subpoenas respectively, to the Fulton County Board under Georgia law. But rather than complying with the first subpoena, the executive chairman and director, without authorization from the rest of the board, filed a lawsuit to quash that subpoena. After more than a year of litigation, the board, through counsel, made an offer to comply with the first subpoena by copying the documents and sending a bill for $435,000 over back to the SEB. No, they can't afford that, so just hit them with this. So the FCBRE has not responded to the second subpoena, and they've ignored the legal process altogether. Public confidence requires preservation of evidence and independent review. This has been true since the founding of our republic and is especially true now. The government's retention at the DOJ of these materials advances those interests, and we support the dismissal of the board and their demand for the files back, signed by Dr. Janice Johnson, here certified, and we'll see ultimately what the decision is. But of course, we're going to keep our eye on this one. Fulton fraudsters now slammed by the state election board and by some amazing people like Janice, who is here doing amazing work out there on the board.
So I just wanted to keep you up to date with that. Apparently the Georgia election is not done. The 2020 election is the election that never ends. I'm like, how are we still talking about this? But I think it's good that we're talking about it. Let me be fair. I think it's right, especially as we're coming up on the midterm and then, of course, another presidential election. I do think we have a conversation. I don't know. I'm starting to become a little bit more of a fan. I do like early voting. I have to admit, I do like early voting. But if they moved it to day of only, but we had clean rolls, and you knew that the only people in line were people that should be voting and could vote and should be voting, I would probably be okay with that. I might be okay with that. And I mean, we have enough election places and polling places, I believe. But I think if they were able to say, hey, we know that our voter rolls have been cleaned up, they've been scrubbed, we deep cleaned them, all that kind of stuff like that. And only the people that can vote will be in line. And it's day of, and you got to wait. Now here in Georgia, when you do early voting, usually there's nobody there. You just walk in. The local polling place by my house is the voting location. That's where they actually do all the tabulation of all the votes anyway. I mean, it's a gigantic location. You just walk in there. They got like 17, 18 particular windows that you can go to, register. I mean, make sure that you're right to vote and go vote. They usually, again, it's super fast. I've never had to wait longer than maybe 15 minutes tops. I would be okay if they said, okay, but now you got to wait 30 minutes. I probably wouldn't be mad about that if we knew that it was going to be we weren't going to have this story coming up in, 2032 about the fraud that happened in 2028. I would probably be okay with that. You would hate it? You would hate day of? Really? I don't know, man. There would be a lot of lawsuits. I know. There would be. I know. I mean, they're super fast. I ain't gonna lie, though, but I would be open if they just said, look, we're just gonna do day of voting, all this other shenanigans. I've never waited hours. Even in the worst situations. I've never waited hours. Yeah, because I would have told you if it had been longer than like 15 minutes. I do, like, again, I'm a fan of it. But now hearing all of the shenanigans that happen, and I don't know. Has somebody stole my identity and voted again using my ID? I don't know. If it would be okay with them, I'm probably okay with day of voting. I mean, we have early voting. I remember when we started early voting in Georgia, it was like 2 days before. Now early voting is almost a month. I mean, it's almost a month of early voting. That's just, to me, shenanigans could happen. Like, even if they said, okay, Jay, so we can't do day of because there are going to be too many lawsuits, but we're going to make it to a hard, fast 5 days before. Maybe I would even work with that. But if the rolls were clean, I think that's the biggest concern. Like, if the rolls are clean and we don't have to worry about this going on forever, yeah, that's definitely not early voting. But see, my thing is I haven't voted the day of in a long time. It's always been early voting. Yeah, it's been early voting for a hot minute. Definitely since I've been married. Yeah, I can't think of any time day of voting. Yeah, I can't think of it. Now, my wife has voted day of. I do know that. But yeah, I'm trying to get that. I mean, because there's 2 places near my house that I can vote at for early voting. So I'm just like, man, look, I'm about to walk out this door, hit the little church right here. I'm gonna walk out the door, go to the voting location, hit that, and I'm done. I don't know what it's called. The election board. There goes the election board. Yeah, I can't say that I voted day of in a long. I don't think since I've been married. I really don't think so. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm gonna tell you right now. If they did day of and I had to vote, if they said day of, the election rolls are clean. We know that only people in line are going to be the people that need to be in line. And I had to wait an hour, but you're not going to have to worry about the shenanigans after the fact. I'd have to take that. I'd probably just go and take that, Sassy. That's just me. If they said, look, we've cleaned these rolls, the only people that can vote are people that can vote, that should vote, but it's going to be an hour because it's day of now. I probably would take that. Because again, what we got right now is just not acceptable. I mean, that's the problem. If we could all agree that, yeah, what we have now, 3 weeks early voting is crazy. Now, can you imagine what it's probably like in Chicago and Illinois? What it was like in New York? If they were doing an audit on California, and Georgia is, fairly reasonable. But can you imagine if they were doing that audit in those places? I don't know, man. I probably would be okay with it. I don't wonder anymore. I know why they're fighting so hard. Because there's more likely some shenanigans. There's some shenanigans going on. Green hearts for the shenanigans. Wow. Day of for McCain and Obama. I don't remember that one. Yeah, like I said, I have not voted day of in Definitely since I've been married. I can't imagine. I'm just trying to think. Because before we moved to this house, I'm trying to think I'm trying to remember where my voting place was, my early voting location was. I don't remember. I'm just gonna go on a limb and say I haven't voted early voting I haven't voted day of in 25 years, at least. And I honestly I don't think I did. If I did, it would have been crazy. I don't know, Robert. I don't know, Robert. I think he's a great content creator. If you know him, tell him to holler at your boy. I'd love to meet him, but no, I don't know him. Yeah, we homies. We homies, you know, out here in these YouTube suburbs. Hey, and I think one of my things is if I wait till day of, I'm gonna find a reason not to do it. That's what I'm thinking in my head. Like if I know I got early voting and I'm like, I'll just keep kicking the can. When it comes on the day of voting, I'm gonna look at that line. There's gonna be a line, and I'm gonna be like, my stomach's growling. I want some Chipotle, and I'm not gonna do it. I can see myself. So early voting helps me out. Now, if early voting is done away with and they only have day of, then I'm just gonna have to get my life together and not act like a child. But I can see myself like procrastination and like day of would just, I don't know, man, that would be rough on me. But if that's all I got, then I would definitely, I'd have to do it, right? I'd have to do it. But see, we had regular voting, but everybody's eyes was on Georgia this past election cycle. I don't know. I don't remember how long our early voting is. I don't think it was a month. I think I'm just being hyperbole. But in Australia, you can be fined or mailed for not voting. Whoa. See, I think you mean jailed. I don't think they're gonna put you in an envelope and mail you. I don't know. Yeah, this one is I don't know, man. We need to tell the Georgia State Election Board to watch this podcast and listen to these ideas that we have. You know, we got one side is, 3 weeks of early voting. One side is day of voting. I think we can come in the middle somewhere. I think a reasonable would be like a 5 days early voting with clean roster and clean voter registration. And you have to prove that you're able to vote. I think that would probably be the best next to just clean roster day of. I still think day of might be a shock for most people. But if you clean off the roster and you know that there are no yahoos, there's no shenanigans going on, no dead people voting, nobody triple, quadruple voting, stuff like that. I think most people would rock with that. There's so much corruption in Georgia, especially rural areas. Right. If they could clean that up and we knew that was taken care of, or we knew that, we have a voter ID act in play that at least will tamp down that foolishness and shenanigans. I'd be okay with that. Yeah, I think he did side with him on the birthright citizen. I agree. I believe I heard that as well. But okay, we are going to shift gears. All right, we are going to talk about. I know Gary is supposed to be having a podcast with Green Beret Nap Time, and they're going to be talking about ballistics, right? I found a legal expert a lawyer who explains what the inconclusive ballistics conversation was all about. I thought it was super interesting. It does give a lot more understanding of what's legally going on inside the courtroom. Because really, what happens at the gun range or what happens out here in these YouTube streets in the suburbs isn't at play. What really is happening, or what's really important, is what's going to happen in that courtroom. And I thought that was important. This is a defense attorney. He's explaining what this whole conversation is about. And guess where the link is, everybody? Guess where the link is, everybody? Guess where it is? Write it in the chat. Where do you think the link is? Where do you think the link is to this? If you wanted to watch this video, where do you think it would be? Put it in the chat. Where do you think it is? Well, it's in the chat as well. But where was it before I put it in the chat? Where was it? Where do you think it was? Where do you think your boy had the link? Where did he have it? I got it ready. Put it in the chat while we're doing this, and then drop that green heart as well. Let's go.
Ballistics were inconclusive in the Charlie Kirk assassination case. Like I said, don't get your tinfoil hats in a big tizzy just yet. Let me explain what it really means. So in the high-profile capital murder prosecution of Tyler James Robinson for the September 10th, 2025 assassination of Charlie Kirk at the Utah Valley University, defense attorneys have filed a motion highlighting limitations in the ballistic evidence. Now, a report from the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives indicates that examiners were unable to conclusively link the bullet fragments recovered during the victim's autopsy to the rifle allegedly associated with Robinson. Some people are like, oh, he's not guilty. Well, he's given the presumption of innocence, but it doesn't mean that he's innocent. So Robinson, who's only 22, faces aggravated murder charges with a victim targeting enhancement and other felonies. Prosecutors intend to seek the death penalty, and they're alleging that he traveled approximately 3 hours from his home in southern Utah to carry out the shooting during a Turning Point USA event on the university campus there in Orem, Utah. So Kirk, who is only 31, co-founded the organization, was fatally shot in the neck while speaking outdoors. Now, the defense motion submitted a request to postpone the upcoming preliminary hearing, and they note that the ATF's analysis could not identify the recovered bullet fragment as having been fired from the rifle tied to Robinson. So the attorneys state that they may introduce testimony from the ATF firearm analyst as potentially exculpatory evidence and require additional time to review the full case file, protocols, and related forensic material. The Federal Bureau of Investigation is conducting further investigation and testing as well. So like I said, this news broke yesterday, and it generated significant discussion with some speculating about, broader conspiracies and additional perpetrators. Well, such interpretation, it warrants just a little bit of restraint. All right. So I just became a forensic ballistic expert yesterday. Let me fill you in. Okay. Now, am I a ballistic expert? No, but I've handled lots of shooting cases over the years. All right. So that's where this is coming from. Practical knowledge. So forensic ballistic comparisons rely on microscopic markings known as striations. They're imprinted on a bullet by the firearm's barrel. But when a projectile strikes bone, particularly at a high velocity, it frequently deforms fragments or becomes distorted. Now, the physical alteration often renders the individual characteristics markings from the gun unreliable or impossible to match definitively to a specific weapon. Scientific literature on ballistic trauma consistently documents that bone impacts increase fragmentation of both the bullet and the surrounding skeletal material, complicating microscopic analysis without invalidating other lines of evidence. So, inconclusive ballistic results in cases involving bone strikes are not uncommon in forensic practice and do not inherently disprove a connection between a suspect and a crime. They represent one component of the larger piece of the evidentiary record. So, like I said, don't put your tinfoil hats on just yet and say, oh my gosh, Tyler Robinson's been framed. There must have been a second shooter. No. Okay. Lots of times you have shooting cases. They have a gun. They have a bullet that struck something. It was completely deformed. And although it's the same caliber, they can't say that it came specifically from that rifle due to the fragmentation, deformation of the bullet itself. So put the tinfoil hat back into the drawer. All right.
But I like my tinfoil hat. I got tinfoil hat laced hats, and you can buy them at jwit.com. They have tinfoil laced in them. Like, I mean, I stay ready, man. I stay ready. This is a very interesting. So, all right. So hopefully that made sense. And by the way, again, link down in the description if you want to go back over that and listen again. I do think that makes a lot of sense. Now, of course, we can have the ballistics conversation and all that kind of stuff like that. But this is how an actual attorney is going to deal with this topic and how they've dealt with this multiple times over. So that was the point of this whole thing. So let's keep it going.
Anyway, the motion from the defense further details the volume of discovery material provided to the defense, including approximately 20,000 electronic files comprising audio, video, documents, social media data, DNA.
Hold on. Did you just hear that? How many files they have in this trial? I mean, in this case, let me back that up a little bit. Did y'all hear that? You might have missed it.
Fragmentation, deformation of the bullet itself. So put the tinfoil hat back into the drawer. All right. Anyway, the motion from the defense further details the volume of discovery material provided to the defense, including approximately 20,000 electronic files comprising audio, video.
20,000 files. 20,000. So I'm not trying to say that, because they have 20,000 files, that guarantees it's a slam dunk. But is it possible, if they have 20,000 files, that there's files that you and I have not seen, evidence that has not been shared with the public, that's been put out there to the great unwashed? Is that possible? Like, the idea and the notion that we have enough information to make a determination now, and they just literally said 20,000 pieces of information. That's crazy work. Man, shout out to Mike. Mike blessing folk with memberships again. Y'all make sure you say thank you to Mike. Thank you, Mike. Bless you, man. That's a couple for sure. That's a quite a bit. But that's including audio files. Who knows? That could be a 3-hour interrogation. That could be video files. That could be video evidence, 8-hour video CCT camera or whatever like that. I mean, that's a lot of information. So shout out for sure. Okay. Let's keep this going. Let's go.
Documents, social media data, DNA reports, and crime scene documentation. Defense counsel emphasizes that the complexity of analyzing the mixed DNA samples, which may require input from forensic biologists, geneticists, and statisticians to assess the reliability and the methodology employed by the FBI and the ATF. The defense also argues that hundreds of additional hours are needed to process this material and identify any outstanding items before determining readiness for the preliminary hearing. The prosecutors say we're ready to go, and they plan to present evidence through limited witnesses at the hearing, which is all that's required at a preliminary hearing. They put a couple of lead detectives up. They regurgitate what's in the affidavit for arrest warrant. Guess what? Probable cause exists. You think the judge is going to throw it out? Well, no, a judge has already found probable cause. Remember that, ladies and gentlemen. The defense is getting a little too spun up in this particular situation. So like I said, they're going to have hearing, law enforcement testimony regarding the crime scene, searches, statements from Robinson's parents and roommate, as well as forensic summaries. And the defense anticipates potential hearsay elements and has expressed concern over the timeline for a thorough preparation. Guess what? Hearsay is admissible at a preliminary hearing. Now, you can't go 5 layers deep into hearsay, but it's permissible at a preliminary hearing. It's simply a screening device. It's not a trial. The rules of evidence are relaxed because it is a preliminary hearing. Now, for those who don't recall, Robinson surrendered to police following a brief manhunt, and he has not yet entered a formal plea because we're not at the arraignment yet. Anyway, earlier court proceedings have addressed issues such as media access, courtroom restraints.
That's right. They haven't arraigned him yet. Wow. I just totally forgot that. Wow. We got a long way to go. Good gracious, man.
And prosecutorial conflicts, which the judge denied, but the case continues to move forward. Now, this is a deliberate attempt by the defense to slow down the judicial process in a, what should be a straightforward homicide, but the defense is going to make it difficult. Remember this. I've told you this before, right? This is what we tell you. We tell you the inside baseball stuff. We tell you the inside the prosecuting defense thinking. All right. It is a death penalty case. The prosecutors say they're going to do that. Prosecutors don't go death penalty unless they're pretty darn sure they can prove their case beyond a reasonable doubt. The defense then goes into, we've seen it in the DeBale case. We've seen it in the Koberger case. The defense strategy is simply to delay. They hope that the evidence will disappear. They hope that witnesses disappear. People lose interest in it, just kind of wear the prosecution down, so to speak. That is the philosophy in a death penalty case, just the way it is. Because the longer you delay, nothing bad happens. That's it. All right. This is a pretty straightforward case, right? Guy speaking, guy up on building, shoots gun, seen leaving through video, leaving gun. His roommate tells the world that the shooter allegedly confessed to him. Parents say he confessed to him. He apparently confessed as well. So, like I said, all this talk about some crazy internet people saying that, it's inconclusive. Therefore, the case, oh my God, there's reasonable doubt. No, if you're thinking that, that's not the case at all, ladies and gentlemen. Come back to reality.
Oh, sorry.
Like I said, take off the tinfoil hat,
okay,
put it in the drawer, and save that for the next great conspiracy theory. This is a straightforward case. Hopefully the judge says, let's move along and have this preliminary hearing. The defense can ask for additional time, but this is their strategy: delay. And as always, that's right, Mr. Robinson is presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law beyond a reasonable doubt. That applies to everybody here on Crime Talk, just so we're clear. Anyway, Joseph Duggar.
Okay. All right. So I thought that was super insightful because he's actually in the field of prosecuting and defending. So it's not just armchair quarterbacking. It's not just pre-K law student type of vibes. This man actually does it. So I can accept. I like the fact that he said, look, this is a straightforward case. We need to go ahead and move this thing along, which I think is super insightful. Like, we should keep it moving. So now I guess the question is, why would somebody want to slow this down? Because why not? If you know that Tyler Robinson is innocent, you would want him to get his day in court as quickly as possible because you know that he's going to be found innocent, right? That would make sense. Why would you want to delay it if you know that he's innocent? Something to think about. All right, good people. Thank y'all so much, everybody. Shout out to, again, thank you so much, Mike, for blessing 5 people with memberships. Everybody, I see this thanks Mike's going on, so it seems like the memberships have been distributed. Thank you so much for that. Appreciate you, brother. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. Let's get at it. Trying to avoid that death penalty. Look, they're trying to avoid it. So I'm wondering, watch this. I wonder if they keep the death penalty on the table, will we get a situation where Tyler Robinson just comes in and confesses to cop a plea to just get life in prison versus the death penalty? Now, granted, we all know the death penalty doesn't mean he's going to get put to death next Tuesday. But what if he does it and tries to stay, just be life in prison? Try to get life in prison. I don't know why I said it like that. I'm just wondering. Some people say taint the jury, influence the jury. Scott has a good track record at predicting outcomes. You know what? Let me make sure I follow him. Thank you so much for that. I don't know if I subscribed to him. I had already subscribed. Okay, cool. I want to make sure I see his stuff more often. Crime Talk. Because I just ran across it. Actually, somebody shared it with me earlier. And lo and behold, it was actually really good. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate it. Let's see. Perhaps trying to taint that jury. Like, if he's innocent, wouldn't you want to hurry up and find out that he's innocent sooner than later? Get him up there. Let him find out that he's innocent. Bada boom, bada bing. Now we find out he's innocent. I've got to go find another person. Got to go find the person that did it. Right? I mean, that seems pretty easy to me. Let's see. Remember the older movies where the conspiracy theorists had cork boards full of newspapers, pictures, etc.? Oh, how the times have changed. I'd hate to see Candy's board, one text message. Well, I personally think she probably has that. I bet you. I have no way of proving it. Shout out to Love and Humility. I believe she has that. I believe she has a storyboard. Maybe it's even like on an electronic digital format. But I bet you she has a storyboard where this happened, this, that, and other. Because again, I personally believe this is a hot take. This might not be very popular. I believe Candace Owens had something to do with Charlie Kirk's murder. I do believe that. There's no reason for anybody to fight like she's been fighting to get Tyler Robinson off, except somebody who's involved in it. I don't see anybody else fighting like that. It makes no sense to me. I believe she did something. I believe she had something to do with it. Again, might be a hot take. Yeah, y'all can say what you want to say, clip it, whatever. Jason Deerwoke, Jay Witt said that Candace did it. I believe she has something to do with it. I believe that. And the problem is because it's very much akin to any of these persons who commit heinous crimes or whatnot like that, and they want to relive it. That's why she watches the videotape. I believe she's watched that tape thousands of times. And I mean thousands, like thousands. And she just watches it over and over again because she knows that this is what she did and she's getting away with it. There's a I don't know what the term is called. But there's a let's shift from the deletion of Charlie Kirk to a man that's having an extramarital affair. And most of the time, when a man gets caught in an extramarital affair, is because they ultimately want to show people that they have conquered this prize, this younger woman, this other woman, but they can't not talk about it. So they end up putting themselves in a position where they get caught because they want people to know that they conquered this prize, that they've gotten this trophy, so to speak. A perfect example is the guy that got caught out at the Coldplay concert on the Kiss Cam. That's super messy. Like, what the devil? Like, you were out there just wilding out because he ultimately wanted people to know, like, look, I've caught this woman. I got this second prize. I got my wife over there doesn't know about it. I'm over here doing wrong. I'm doing dirty. They want people to know about it. I hate to say it. A lot of the time when men get caught like that, it's because they really want people to know. And they don't want to keep it a secret because they want people to know that they've conquered. Okay, now shift back to what I'm saying here. I think deep down inside, she wants people to know, like, I pulled off the biggest scam in history. I deleted him. I'm uprooting and tearing apart TPUSA, GOP, the conservative movement. I'm doing it. This is what I'm doing. She doesn't want to be. She wants to be known. She wants to. I really think so. And again, that's just my hot take theory. I'm just sharing it with y'all. Just the few of us that are watching. Just me and you. We don't have to tell anybody. But I do believe that she had something to do with it. And because of that, that's why she's moving like she's moving as it relates to quote unquote investigating. Dopper's Delight. What is that? Yeah, the glee of getting one over on somebody. Yeah. Allegedly. Absolutely allegedly. But I just think that's what it is. So I think because it would be the most ridiculous sentence to find out that Candace Owens gets arrested because she's found out to have been the reason. Like, you find out that her and Tyler Robinson had been text messaging and her coordinating with him. That would be crazy. Everybody would lose their minds. Why? Because you can't believe that she was a part of it because she was quote unquote investigating it, but she was actually the one that was a part. There have been other stories where there's a missing child and the search party, one of the people in the search party was the person that did it, that deleted the poor child, is out there and just wanting to be a part of it. There have been countless stories like this. I don't think it's far-fetched. Oh, I don't think I'm right. Let me say this again. I don't think I'm right, Tanya. I don't think I'm right. I'm just putting it out there. Let me say it like this. I will not, if news came up today that if it flashed on my screen, Candace Owens arrested in the deletion of Charlie Kirk, The only person that's not going to be like, I can't believe it, will be me. That's all I'm going to say. That's what I'm trying to say. It was a conspiracy and she was a part of it. I'm going to be like, I knew it. I knew it. I'm sorry. Ever since, I'll be honest with you, I'm just talking to y'all. Shout out to y'all. Shout out to the best live chat. I've been thinking this ever since the Egyptian planes. Ever since the planes, I've been like, this don't make no sense. Like, it don't make no sense to be coming up with these stories like this if you yourself are not involved in this. So it's been something I've been thinking about. Yeah, Kohlberger. There's a lot of them. If you just do a research on it, there have been so many situations that the person that committed the heinous crime, that robbed the bank, whatever, has been that has been involved in the actual crime. And they keep coming back, checking it out, reliving it, the thrill of the hunt, whatever. That happens with parents all the time, sadly, with missing kids. The parents are right. So again, it's a hot take. I'm not making any claims. I'm not accusing her. All I'm saying is, if it ever comes up that she was involved in it, I will not be sitting here saying, I cannot believe it. I'm going to be like, I told her. I knew it. It's just, she's just too much involved. And again, like this is the very last point. Okay. We watch a lot of body cam here, right? We watch a lot of body cam footage. How many times have we watched somebody come up to the police officer? The police officer comes to the window and they just start lying. I don't have my ID. This car is not registered to me. Oh, that ID in my wallet, that's my sister's wallet. I was just leaving from work. I know I smell like alcohol, but I had just one drink. And just lie upon lie upon lie upon lie. And they just keep making them up. You're like, just stop lying. Why do they keep throwing in new ideas, new concepts, new things? Because they're trying to get the police off of their case. They want to get the police stop looking at them, let them go. How many times has Candace thrown out new things? I think we're now on Freemasons are catching strays now. The French Green Berets were catching it earlier this week. Like literally in the week, and new people groups are being accused of this every time. Why is that? Why? Oh yeah, she's boiling bunnies. There's no question about it. There's no rabbits, no squirrels, no chipmunks in her community. No, they are definitely all boiled and barbecued and fricasseed. Hands down. Sous vide, is that what sous vide? They all sous vide. The whole neighborhood. I went to visit a friend of mine today. I'm like, dude, your neighborhood is full of squirrels. I mean, I'm driving slow down the streets. I'm trying not to hit them. There's so many squirrels. I'm like, my God, there's a lot of squirrels in your neighborhood. Clearly, Candace don't live in the neighborhood. That's all I'm going to say. So anyway, that was just my little theory, throwing it out there. Y'all can do what you will. That's just my thoughts on it. So let's get over here. We're going to look at some, I got 2 Charlie Kirk Q&As. And this is an interesting one because it starts off with, so I'm going to end the conversation about Candace. So I'm just going to move on from that because I don't want to sullen the whole conversation talking about her foolishness. So I thought this was interesting because this is a man who is a student at or was at I think we're at San Diego State. He's at San Diego State, I think. And guess what? He's an immigrant. And he's actually telling Charlie Kirk about the value of being an immigrant and doing it the right way. I thought that was super helpful. So let's bring this in. Y'all know how we like to do it. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear. And he got the Rico Suave going on. He got the little, he done button down to the 3rd button. He's showing the taco meat. Shout out to Rico Suave. Let's go.
In Europe, we are having a big problem with illegal immigration. People are coming, they don't respect our laws, that woman stabbing is dangerous to go around. So I don't understand when people come here to talk to you, liberals, saying that they want to welcome them, because you don't know who is entering in your country.
Amen. And I'll tell you, we need more legal immigrants like you in this country. I'll tell you what.
And it makes me upset that for me it's difficult. I'm respecting the law. I'm here if I have to be here legally, I'm gonna go back to Italy because I cannot work, and it makes me upset seeing someone that comes here illegally and does whatever he wants. That's it.
My name's Ellie. Overall, just to go into my
So I just
question.
want to, shout out to that young man. He's like, I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to do. I'm here to work for a season, and then I get to go back. And it's sad to watch people cheat the system, and they get to stay longer. So I just thought that was super dope. All right, let's go. Here comes a real back and forth. Let's go.
I am conservative. So going into this, I was like, oh, like what should I ask you about? I think overall, I was like, going through different policies, and in general, I agree. Ultimately, I think the topic of my question is how to approach politics in school and in general with this function. I've found that a lot of times when I talk to people who are on the other side of me, they are surprised to find out what I think, and my ideas are not that crazy. It's like when you actually get into the meat of it, it's like, oh, actually, maybe it does make sense. And so I think it's really valuable to start giving these ideas to the world. And so this is one of these options. But I guess my question is this the best way? Because when I hear, like, for example, on Reddit, they're like, don't approach him, don't do this, he's just doing that, he's doing this, he's doing that, he's using all these tactics. And so I wonder if you've considered, not to say that this is a bad way to go about it, but if there's maybe a slightly better way, because I think what you're saying has a lot of value in this world, but it's proposed, like in this school specifically, it is thought of as evil and as like not like a valid way to think.
That's a UC San Diego problem, not a Charlie Kirk problem,
no,
right?
and it's not, and it's not to say it's a problem of you. No.
And I meaning, like, I read there was some op-ed journalist where they said ignore Charlie, ignore him. But what they're saying is that they are not either smart enough or they're not intellectually mature enough to have a discussion with a conservative on any issue. I have literally almost no notes. I have like a couple charts to show you if the topics come up. You guys can use AI. You guys can use Grok. You could do whatever you want. You could bring a professor. You could bring 5 of your top libs together. Debate me, right?
Yeah.
Right. Other side? Okay,
Yeah.
Thank you. And you guys can debate me at any time. I fail to understand why. Well, actually, I know the reason. Speech is not a left-wing value. And they do not believe in freedom of speech. They believe in totalitarian control. There are exceptions to that. So if they have a problem, I think this is one of the best ways, not the best way. I literally could not be more open to disagreement. I say if you disagree, you go to the front of the line.
Yeah.
And I mean, how often do you as conservatives get a chance to challenge liberals on campus, right? And being welcomed ever?
Oh, absolutely, almost never. Definitely not.
So I want to say this. I am 100% in agreement with having small. Now, granted, I think the way Charlie Kirk did it, I'm sorry, I don't think many people can do that. But small batch conversations where you're sitting down with somebody, answering their questions, like, and such of that nature, to me, I think that is very, very powerful. I do think that the way Charlie Kirk does it, because it is in front, you have a lot of witnesses to it. So I do think that does does cause most liberals a problem, because they know if they get one-upped, they get one-upped in front of all their friends. They get one-upped in front of their classmates or their peers and fellow liberals. And now they're in a pickle because they kind of believe that Charlie Kirk was right. They kind of agree that Charlie Kirk was on the money. And now they have to stand in front of their friends and realize that they had to take that L. So, but I am all for this. I think this is the right way to do it. I think this is the best way, in my opinion. Sure, there's nothing wrong with having this large scale conversation. I don't like personally doing that. I like having, one-on-one, mano-a-mano conversations. I do think that ultimately that's the way that we do discipleship. That's the way that we help walk young men and young women down the path of conservatism, but most importantly, understanding their faith. This large scale situation, I don't think is equally as effective as just a nice one-on-one, one-on-two conversation where you're answering questions and showing that, nope, I'm not crazy. You just got blue hair and a septum ring. That's it. You got Shanghai. I didn't. Okay, let's finish this up.
Speech is not a left-wing value.
No, but to say that, I mean, with all of that being said, that is very true. But ultimately, what happens here is I see a lot of, like, the ideas just being, like, bubbled against. And so, like, when I talk to my friends, their ideas aren't changed from these conversations. And so I wonder if there's just
You would be surprised. I'm sorry to interrupt. What happens here gets seen hundreds of millions of times on social media.
Yes.
The crowds are growing. And so, look, some people are going to remain closed-minded. They're not going to, have their horizons open, but that's on them, right? They have to actually want to pursue the truth and not just have their own worldview confirmed.
And then I guess that's where I disagree, because I think fundamentally there is truth within anything. And I believe that maybe I would ask you to see that you have a big role in this. You have a big fan base and a big media base that you are making incredible change. And to take it just one step further would be really trying to push the narrative against this being a place where people are just debating.
So I'm going to tell you real quick. I'm just going to spoiler alert. I don't think she really has a point. If you're asking and wondering, I don't know what she's talking about either. I don't get it. And I didn't understand what she wasn't. It was like she was affirming him, but she wanted him to go further, but maybe he's doing too much. I think she just wanted to talk, and she's super nervous, and she just wanted to get this out. So I don't think she really had a point. I'm sorry.
It's more than that.
What would you like to see?
I guess maybe it's more of a question. I guess, I don't know, moving forward, trying to maybe to see that instead of using these really fast tactics and to really try to bring it down, not to say someone is, not to say that they're, no.
I disagree with all that. That's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, you're thinking way too much about libs on Reddit. I care about normal people. So
no,
yeah.
But
I mean, you did bring up Reddit. I'm sorry. You're like,
no, I guess that's true. No, and I guess
so
maybe
these people are not well socially adjusted, right? I talk to the 90% of the American people that actually want to make something in their life and have kids and
no, and I couldn't agree more with that stance. I guess maybe stepping away from Reddit, it's to me the people on this campus. This is a school I go to, and almost everyone I'm surrounded with has a completely different view from me. And
not everybody.
No, and this is but this the people here, to find them, it feels like you're sifting through a needle in a haystack.
You want a hat?
Sure.
All right. Thank you very much.
I think when we talk about abortion, I think we really get into this idea of when we should assign.
The young lady, I know, I'm sorry, y'all. She really didn't have a point. I'm sorry about that. Okay, let's go.
Personhood, right? So you clearly believe that life begins at conception, and I think it would be better if we shift that metric to a more based on sentience. And I believe that and the question I have for you is that since you believe that life begins at birth, let's say we have a person that's grown to old age and they have died, and they have absolutely showing no brain activity at all. Would you believe that that person, that dead person is the equivalent of a human life?
Yeah, I mean, it is a human life, but those are two totally separate things. One is no more, and the other one's not yet.
Right. Real quick, I have seen Allie Beth on Jubilee. The problem is Jubilee does not allow you to review their content. There are several content creators out here, The Breakfast Club, iHeartRadio, Jubilee, and several others that will copyright strike you if you sometimes even a picture. Joe Budden podcast, a lot of them. I don't really, and because of it, is this a lot of work to actually transform the content to actually be able to use it? That is not worth it to me. So that's why I don't. But I did see Allie Beth on there. I thought she did a great job. It's just it's almost not worth it. I hate to say it like that, but it's almost not worth it. Okay, finish up.
Right.
So not yet is different than no more. If someone's at the end of their life and there's nothing more we can do to continue their life, that is a different moral conversation than someone that has not yet been completely grown as a human as you and I. Two totally different moral circumstances. So you can't conflate the two.
Right. But I think they both have the same problem where it's about the presence of consciousness, right? Then
no, it's not a problem. One consciousness will come. One will not. That's right. So they're two separate things. One has potentiality. Yeah. One does not. So you can't conflate the two together.
But okay, let's say let me use a different analogy then. Let's say I have a blueprint to a building, right? And I have the materials for the building, and you destroy those materials. The materials of the building isn't the building in itself. Can we both agree that there's a difference between those two?
Is the building building itself in real time and is currently being constructed and it's going up?
No,
up,
but
up?
it still doesn't really matter because they're still adding value to the fact that we're creating the
bad
building.
analogy.
Right?
A blueprint. Because the blueprint not itself is not the building.
Right, exactly.
No,
so
I'm saying
So yeah, this was again. I don't know where this young man was going. I'll just kind of warm us up. I don't know why he wanted to talk about this topic, because he clearly doesn't have a dog in the race. He clearly is not versed in it because he's bringing up two examples that have nothing to do with the deletion of a child in the womb, which is crazy work. So let's let him finish up.
From like
A human being's DNA is not
we
just
agree
the-
on that though.
No,
that
no,
the
it's not.
blueprint is not the building, so there's probably different moral qualifications.
No,
right?
they're not. I'm saying though
Right?
that the baby is the building. So you're incorrect.
Okay, so
the building is following the blueprint.
So when you're looking at like I don't know, like a fertilized egg, you're telling me a picture of this fertilized egg is the equivalent of a human life
Yes.
right now.
Yeah.
It's the
Yes.
exact
What's
same
the
thing.
difference?
The different stage of development.
So why should stage of development give you more rights?
Well, I mean, we okay. You're acting like this is
No,
not something this is done in society. Like, for example, we do judge based on different stages of development, like and cognitive capabilities, right? I'm not letting a fetus drive a car. A fetus can't
but no, hold
drive.
on. The right to life.
Alcohol and whatnot.
Apply the right to life
Okay,
to your
this
stage
is,
of
this is a
development.
little bit different. So I guess a different question I would have to ask you is like, why why is your I'm assuming
Yeah, this is a really bad whataboutism. Like, just stay with your topic. Don't bring up another scenario because you've already brought up 3 that don't work. And hear me, I like word pictures too. I do like, using word pictures when necessary, but you already have this the salient point is life begins at conception. And you disagree with that. Don't bring up elderly people and buildings and fetus driving cars because those things don't matter. And I think he just wants to argue this point. But sir, you're losing the argument, and Charlie's going to just jump all over you. So let's go.
your two qualifications here are the fact that like it's a unique cellular organism, right? That has the potential to
and
life,
it's
right?
human, which
And
is
it's human.
inherently has dignity.
So I guess then this brings on the question because I know there's another scenario where this occurs, right? Where fertilization of an egg occurs, and they're on track to development, correct? And this other example that I'll think of is like animals, right? I think why do we not give the same moral consideration to animals as we are to like zygotes in this
Because
situation?
animals aren't human beings.
Okay, so but why is human beings
Human beings have a soul and animals do not.
have a soul? So this is my point,
No,
guys.
soul is not just
is a
consciousness.
conscious experience.
No, it's not.
You are
Let me prove it to
engaging
you.
in
Wrong.
This is honest though.
Let me prove it to you. When someone is quote
consciousness-
unquote brain dead, do you know that they still respond if someone stabs them? Their norepinephrine goes up. Do you know that a woman still menstruates if she's brain dead? So consciousness is not human work. There's something else going on beyond consciousness that exists in a being that is the soul.
Okay, so now we're getting into a conversation of what the difference between the soul and a consciousness is. And I
No,
really
they're
think-
totally different. The soul is the something beyond consciousness is your narration to yourself,
Okay.
your ability to reason. There's something above reason. All of us know what that is when it kicks in. You ever hear the expression, words can't describe? I am speechless. You know why? Speech is reason. When you see
Okay.
a sunset that takes your breath away, when you see a newborn life that is born, you don't even have the words to express it because it transcends your
I
reason.
agree with that.
That is your soul.
So I mean that's a good point. Like when we give what you just labeled there is like when a child is given born when they're born, we give such moral significance to that, not the fact that like they got infertilized by an egg. I don't want to celebrate. I want to sort of I'd rather celebrate my birthday rather than like the day my parents had sex. That's kind of a little weird situation. You know what I mean? Like if life begins at conception.
Well, it's called your birthday for a reason,
Right,
but you
'cause
were
I'm
a
bored, right?
living being, not
It seems that like society
you
kind
were
of
9 months prior. you were-
gravitates to this idea of like an actual human being existing that
Oh,
gives
no.
moral
That's-
value, right?
One is your entrance to the world. The other one
Right.
is the actual creation of your being. Two different
Right.
things. Your birthday is when you entered the world.
Right,
For example, your birthday could be at 28 weeks, not 36
Okay.
weeks. So everybody has a different day when you exit the womb, but it's
Okay.
not when your worth begins. That's not when your value begins. That's simply when you exit the womb.
Right. So I have a good question. I really want to get back to this idea of like you give more moral value to the level of the fact that like that humans that are developed have a soul in comparison.
That's the problem. They want to really try to thread this needle, slice a hair to separate the child in utero from the child that's born. Charlie's saying no. Once at conception, there it is. We fixed the problem. And see, all this other stuff is just window dressing. We've already determined that life begins at conception. That spark, it's there. Now we have a human. It just needs time to develop. That's it. And I think Charlie was right. I think he should bring him back to why does your place in development determine your moral worth? But let's finish up. Shout out to him.
To like a zygote that or actually no
Or- or-
animals
or a
animals, is
coyote.
that- okay, so is that not the same comparison to like a zygote to a developed human being in the sense that like we are a higher functioning conscious being in comparison to like this other thing that we can just actively kill whenever
It doesn't
we want?
matter. I
Why
mean,
does
can
it
you
not matter,
actively
though?
kill a 1-year-old? Doesn't have as much acuity as you do or consciousness.
Right. Yeah, but like I mean, that's not the,
Can you kill a 1-year-old?
That's the same thing because like this is
Of
like going
course the
back to
same
my
thing.
like
What's the
idea of
difference in a
sentience,
1-year-old
right?
and a 1-day-old zygote? What's the moral difference?
The level of consciousness.
Oh,
right?
so one's bigger. One's more developed. One's older. The consciousness is completely irrelevant.
Sure.
Because
How is
just
it
you know
relevant?
that a 1-day-old out of the womb doesn't have a lot of consciousness at all.
Okay, sure.
It
that's
can't
fine.
speak. It can't really. It's kind of
Right.
like disembobulated.
But that's-
you don't get less rights for that.
I agree. I mean, like, well, to a certain degree, I agree with that. But like,
No. Why do you
there
agree
is a
with that?
meaningful difference between a fertilized egg and a conscious
What is
human
it?
being. One is less conscious than the other.
Oh no, well, one has more skills. But like, what's the innate moral difference? And prove it to me.
Because it seems like we do restrict rights and we do actually change rights based on development and consciousness.
No, I'm gonna stop him because I see what he's doing. And by the way, I didn't make sure you hit the like button on that one. Charlie is asking, what is the difference? And he's saying we give those rights. No, he wants to know what is the actual, I don't know the proper term, but what is the actual difference between a 1-day-old zygote and a 1-day-old infant outside the womb? Like, what is the actual difference between those two? Not rights given or acknowledgement, because of course, a 1-day-old outside the womb can be held and coddled and all that kind of stuff like that. There's difference because the humans can interact with it. But is there really a difference between the two? That's what I believe he's going to say.
Life. So like a 4-year-old,
right?
What is the innate moral difference of a 4-year-old and a zygote?
One is more conscious.
Okay, got it. So I think that's irrelevant. I think they're both human beings deserving of protection. Consciousness alone is not a marker of dignity.
Okay, but so then what is your marker of dignity? Is
Being
that
a
because-
human being.
Being a human being. So is your argument a little bit circular though? There, it's just like it's
No,
just
it's not.
because we deserve rights because we're a human being.
Yeah, of course. I mean, it's self-evident. We are human beings with a soul, therefore we have rights.
So we deserve rights because we're human beings because we're human beings. So like, how am I supposed to win against this argument?
You can't.
See, okay, yeah, exactly. So
Because
inherently
it's called a self-evident truth.
So like,
It's
yeah.
called self-evident. So it is. That's why the pro-life position is irrefutable.
But
Is
so
that
then-
because you have to posit human beings have rights?
and that's that. And that is not a kind of a concern that like we base all our entire ideology on this one illogical circle that.
No, it's
that
not
goes back and
illogical.
forth.
It's incredibly
Yeah, right.
logical.
So like,
we are human beings,
what I'm
and we
interested
believe
in
that
is
they
that
matter.
like if you remove this circle here, then you would have to actually be pro-life in the sense of be pro-life to all life.
Well, we are.
Right. So
No,
pro-life to,
no,
like,
no,
animals,
no,
kind of, you know.
but we
what
don't
I'm saying?
believe human
Look,
beings are.
I'm not like a vegan or anything. I'm not vegetarian.
But human beings
I
are not the
think
moral
this-
same
if you
as
were-
a bird. It's not the same thing. For multiple reasons, because a human being has characteristics and qualities, and most importantly, we believe as Christians, human beings have a soul that a bird does not have.
Okay, so characteristics and qualities.
And only,
like,
let me interrupt one more.
Sorry,
the West,
no
whether
problem.
you agree or not, sorry to interrupt, we believe the human being is the only thing made in the image of the Creator, Imago Dei.
Okay. So when you say characteristics and qualities, what does that mean to me? What does that mean to me?
Well, first of all, not just the ability to reason, but
Okay.
also the ability to sympathize, empathize,
Okay.
feel, predict, plan,
Yeah.
conjecture, have
Right.
mercy, forgiveness,
Okay.
to be able to be
All beautiful things.
introspective.
I love that. I love that about us human beings.
Oh no, I know.
I'm not being sarcastic.
No, but
It's a good
we
point.
human beings are exceptional, actually. I mean,
Right.
versus the beasts of the wild, of which
Right.
we should appreciate and adore.
Mhm.
But again, more beyond that, we come after this from a soft religious view, because you don't have to be Christian to believe this.
Right.
That the human being has innate, inherent,
Value and worth.
embedded, let's just say, dignity that a fox does not.
Right. Yeah. So what you just did there is kind of like my argument here. You're saying that like because we are human, we are more developed, we have higher cognitive reasoning, we're able to sympathize, emotion, and reason, do all these
And the
great
soul.
things. Right. But the thing is, well, I guess that's a religious belief, though.
Well,
And
that's
my
an
belief
interesting
system,
question.
I think that consciousness is the soul,
And
if
that's
makes sense.
that's where why if you don't believe in God, it's easy to go want to murder a bunch of people. And I'm not criticizing you. It
Right,
goes
right,
back to
right.
just a common theme here. If you believe in God, every human being has dignity.
Well, you're kind of intuition pumping there about saying if it's murder because we haven't really discussed. We haven't even agreed on.
I mean,
whether
but look,
the zygote is
of course,
a human
if
being
the
worth
human
considering,
being
right?
and the elimination of human life is murder, but that's
Right.
fine. We're just. This is why it's very hard to change people that don't believe in God to be pro-life, because you don't necessarily believe that human life is necessarily special.
No, I mean I do.
But you might
believe
think it's
human
like
life is very
unique and it's
special,
like
right?
interesting.
It is
but
unique
you
experience,
don't
right?
believe it's made in the image of a creator.
Okay, yeah,
And
I
that's
mean-
fine. And that's why we tend to be the pro-life champions, and
Mhm.
those that don't believe in God don't. And that's okay.
Okay.
It's just that clarity is important for the audience.
Okay, so I guess we can keep going back and forth. I'm sure you got a whole lot. I'm gonna
It's
give it
fine.
to
No,
people.
you-
But I
you've been great.
I do want to have a good question with you. A question about that I want to leave off on is, so it seems like I think you're pretty set in stone in this position, and I would like to ask, what would I have to do or prove to show you in order to convince you that pro-life isn't the answer that society should be seeking for?
I mean, it would be an impossibility. You have to prove to me God doesn't exist.
Okay, so then we can agree that like this is just a moral issue that you're appealing to a book.
Of course. I mean, all moral issues appeal to an authority, obviously.
Okay.
Why is murder wrong?
I mean, because the reason, if you want to talk about morality, we can talk about morality too.
Abortion is a moral issue. Of course it is.
Yeah. But the reason why
our whole conversation is laced with morality.
But in order to kind of like reduct it to like a textbook or a book or a specific like
why? Where do you get your morality from?
Well, I think morality should be based on like what is the best choice of action to help society progress.
Okay, okay, got it. What if society agrees we should kill the dumb people?
Well, probably not the best.
Well, but why?
Well, the thing is, it's
how about
the thing is,
we should abort.
Pragmatically, that doesn't work out.
Yes, it does. In Iceland, it's mandatory to abort Down syndrome babies.
Yep.
Okay.
It's best, right? Down syndrome people are a strain on society. Why do you say it's wrong?
I mean, because there's some degree of like we should protect some people.
Why? What standard? Why are you appealing to? I appeal to a book. What do you appeal to?
The thing is, I think like there's still some value to
why?
People
what standard? Is that your opinion, or is there something transcendent telling you that?
No, there's something transcendent because like there is some sacredity to life, and that's what I agree with. I agree that life is sacred. That's why I would agree that if you adopted a more broader pro-life stance, I think I would be more on side of that. Like if you want to have a society where we're forcing women to breed and pump out children, then I would say you have to create that society where like it is more able for them to do that, and in addition to not be indiscriminate between life. So I think I would agree with that sentiment, right?
Thank you for your time.
Shout out to Charlie. Charlie said, "Look, I'm done with you. Thank you so much." I have no idea why that young man was arguing that. And I think the Iceland argument was a perfect example of like the inconsistency of this thought process. When you really put the screws to it and when you really put your weight on it and really press on it, it falls apart pretty quickly. It gets real wonky, real fast. So I have another one. I think this, if I'm not mistaken, no, it's not. I was gonna say, I think it's all women. No, it's two women and a guy, but it's some pretty wild conversation. So thank y'all, everybody who's already been jumping up in here. Yeah, like forcing women to breed and force our kids here in the United, that's some crazy work. that was a wild sentence. I don't think I know anyone who regrets having their child. I don't either. I can't think of, well, let me say it like this. I know for a fact, I don't know any married couple that regrets having their children. I don't know any. And I know a lot of people with kids. I know no married people who regret having their children. Whether they have a lot or a little, more than they can afford or whatever. I don't know any married couples that regret having kids. The only people I know that regret having children are people that don't need to have kids. That shouldn't, they're not married and they don't have kids. I don't know any married couple that doesn't enjoy or like having their little people. I mean, mine just called me. Yeah, like it's like texting me. Why are you texting me, child? Stop texting me. You're harassing me. But I love them. I love them. Yeah, I don't. There's no regret and joy. Like, yeah, man. I don't even think about the bad things about. I got one in college right now, and she calls me about the meal plan for next year. And she's talking, I'm like, a part of me, a small little tiny part of me is like, man, that's a lot for this meal plan. And you still go out to eat and you still, ask me for money to go out to eat and stuff like that. But it gets overwhelmed by the fact that I'm helping her become a mature adult. And one day she'll be leaving from here. That joy overcomes any little consternation I have about the meal plan or her roommate assignment for next year. I just got her, just ordered her storage so she can move out literally she can move out this time next month. I'll be going up there to help her move out. And I'm like, none of that's a burden. Not one piece of it. I don't know. I don't like the fact that people redact or reduce marriage and like there was that comedian that said that marriage is forced slavery on women and it's such of that nature. And really people reduce God's perfect plan down to something terrible. And they gotta get the most egregious example they can to justify doing something counter to what God has said. That's ultimately what it is. Regret is just another way of saying no lesson was learned. There we go. Psalm 127:3. Behold, children are a gift from the Lord. The fruit of the womb is a reward. Absolutely. I mean, sometimes I'm like, dog, we probably should have more. I guess that would be a regret. I guess that would be a regret, is I wish we got married. We had gotten married and started having kids sooner, because we waited like 7 years. Probably could have said, man, we could have got started earlier and had more. That'd probably been the only thing. But okay, Charlie, tackling some feminists on campus, talking about DEI. We got a DEI meltdown. This is gonna be fun. So let's get at it, ladies and gentlemen. Green hearts in the chat when you can hear.
I've recently watched 3 videos of yours, best top 10 Charlie Kirk debate moments of 2024,
Oh, no.
students enraged that I say college is a scam, and 10 unforgettable Charlie Kirk debates that shook 2024. And I picked 3 different topics that I think are important to me, which comes down to immigration, affirmative action, and DEI, and college is a scam. But the one I want to talk to you about the most is affirmative action and DEI. And in these videos, you have said, quote for quote, white males have high test scores, white males shouldn't have to be penalized. You did acknowledge and say that people of color come from lower socioeconomic backgrounds that do not prioritize education much. But instead of making a suggestion on how to help those communities and continue to like build those communities up, you continue to say that our institutions are becoming less excellent. And I'm confused as to what your definition of excellence is. Is that because white males aren't necessarily, in your opinion, getting accepted as in a higher rate, even though they technically are, because 41% of college admitted students are of the white race?
It should be higher than that. Yeah.
Based on what? Where are you getting the statistics? I just want to.
Charlie Kirk knew how to hurt that girl's feelings. I'm sorry, he did that that was a little warm-up jab to throw her off because she was just rambling. And so he threw that out there, and he knew that was going to throw her phone was going to go down, and she was just going to start speaking, and he knew it. Shout out to Charlie Kirk. That was crazy. Let me back up a little smidgen. Okay, watch this.
White
It
race.
should be higher than that. Yeah.
Based on what? Where are you getting the statistics? I just want to understand.
It's a good question. The Supreme Court did a whole case on this, and it ruled against affirmative action. And we saw the books of Harvard. So
I don't want to cut you off. May I know like for future reference, so I can understand where you're coming from and get more context? Could I know the Supreme Court case?
Yeah. So the name 2.5 years ago. I think it was something out of California. Someone look it up. You could use Grok or ChatGPT.
If somebody could please look that up for me. Thank you.
So we saw the data out of Harvard. Harvard was the test case, and effectively approximating, but a white male had to get about a 30% higher test score to even be considered than an equivalent black student.
And when was this?
Over 30 years. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. So basically for a black student, they could do 30% worse on their standardized scores than an equivalent white student.
And you don't think that has any outside factors to do with it?
Well, that's not the point. The point is whether or not.
But how is that not the point?
Because I don't believe we should accommodate based on outside factors. You do.
There it is in the chat.
Well, I do, because I believe in progression, and I feel like you have stated in multiple of your videos, which.
No, and I'm going to stand right there with Charlie Kirk, because a lot of the situation, what we see is a dumbing down of standards. If the standard is this, and you keep dumbing it down and dumbing it down. If you have children in high school right now, I'm sure you've had the grade inflation debate where they've lowered what is an A to basically allow more children to get A's that probably would have got B's or C's in some instances. And so that grade inflation problem doesn't make kids smarter. It doesn't force them to rise up to the standard. It's lowered the standard to meet children who are subpar. And so this happens in so many places, in so many areas. It's undeniable truth. So because he's talking about affirmative action at Harvard, young lady can get her feelings, but we see it all the time. It happens everywhere. everywhere. So and it happens in every different sphere. It doesn't have to be just college entrance exams. We see the lowering of standards in everything. Perfect example. Here's a great example. I know you all have seen the Chick-fil-A situation in Florida where these employees were doing some viral TikTok dance off hours at Chick-fil-A in their Chick-fil-A uniforms in the store. The proprietor came in the next day and fired all of them. I think it was like 7 or 8 of them. They all got fired. Why? Because they don't want the standard of Chick-fil-A to be seen at that ratchetness. And that behavior was not acceptable. So therefore, you got to go. And so we see this all the time. Now, we're going to talk about affirmative action in college, but you see it all the time. You see it. There's so many places. It's almost like, where do you not see it? Where they've lowered the standard and things have gotten not better by lowering the standard. Okay, let's go.
I do have a
No,
quote.
fair enough. I'm just making sure we
Yeah.
understand we disagree.
I
I don't think we should change the rules of the game to accommodate.
What were the rules of the game?
Well, the rules of the game are that you should be treated fairly and equally, right?
sure.
That's an American principle.
And I agree with that
Got
completely.
it. So therefore, a white male should not be treated differently than a black male.
But when you come from a different
Doesn't matter.
But the
Equal treatment or not. It's not whether or not you were said mean things when you grew up or whether your dad was a gangbanger. Doesn't matter.
well, I'm
Okay.
not saying that's not the outside factors I'm talking about.
It doesn't matter
But
what the
I
outside
come-
factors are.
But
Right. Outside factors are, see, you can't say you think everybody should be treated equally, but you can't put that BBL in there. You can't do that. Them BBLs is killing y'all. You can't do that. You can't do that.
can I explain where I'm coming
But understand, I'm going to finish and I'll let you talk.
Okay, of
Equal
course.
treatment is regardless of any sort of sob story you could put on before it. Equal treatment. Test score, test score.
And I completely agree with that.
You
but I
can't.
also come from a predominantly white town, so I understand what you're trying to say. In my district, we have so much funding, and I live in the Florida Keys, so there's a lot of funding that comes to my school. And you can drive 30 miles north, and you end up in Homestead, where they have a fraction of the funding that we have, and they don't have as much of the same testing instructors and people to help them, and have as much of the same outside resources. And
This is always a problem with people. They always want to defend and argue for people that they are not. It's very interesting. So if you are in an affluent neighborhood, why are you not taking advantage of the fact that you are in an affluent neighborhood and you're able to take advantage of these opportunities? Why are you, for lack of a better term, besmirching and damning where you come from in order for somebody else who may or may not have the same interests as you, who may or may not have the same desire to do well, because you still have to perform once you're there. That's a crazy work for me.
And you can keep going another 30 miles and you end up in Miami, where all the private schools are, and they get even more funding than where I come from. And not that obviously I ended up where I am today because I continue to push through, and I didn't let any outside factors affect me. But at the end of the day, I kept going, and some people don't have that same ability. And I also
It doesn't. Again,
But-
first of all, in Florida, every public school gets the same amount of money. Okay, there's an equal funding
yeah, but
across the board.
But you also get donations from the people in your
fair
community.
enough, but Florida.
But no, nobody's donating. Who cares? Like that doesn't change anything. That's some crazy work. Okay, let's go.
And I know for a fact that my community gets many donations.
Florida has the most. You could use equitable funding structure of any school, and has universal school choice basically. So that's number one. Number two, explain to me why, when we're admitting people for a job, should it just be what's on that piece of paper, or should race play into the factor?
So I know that your argument is mediocrity. I forgot. I don't know.
Mediocrity.
Okay, yeah, and I know that, and I also believe in quotas as well, but I don't think that
Why?
it should be.
She said that she believes everybody should be treated fairly, but now she believes in quotas. That by default means you don't believe that everybody's treated fairly if they have a quota that they have to hit. If they have so many blacks, Hispanics, males, females, alphabet mafia, people with club foot, people with 8 thumbs, whatever. Like at what point do you actually believe that a person does their job on their merit, or a person gets their job based upon their merit?
one and one, but they should go hand in hand. Because at the end of the day, if I have just as good as a resume as somebody next to me, I want to understand where you're getting that jobs are just taking people because they're a woman, because they are Black. I just want to see, and I understand what you're trying to say because of course, with affirmative action and DEI, that does give them an upper hand. But where does it say that you take somebody just because of that color?
All over the place. Capitol Street Partners back in the summer of 2022 said that they will not hire white men for internships. That's one example of thousands I could give.
But because of how many people are in there, how many people in
because
position?
they wanted to be. Again, that's irrelevant. It does not matter if you have an internship and everyone is a white man. If they're all qualified, that's great. It doesn't matter if they're all Asian or all Black. It should be what merit qualification gets the people into that position.
And of course, but if this school only wanted white people to attend.
No. Good, like excellent qualified people. And if they end up majority white, who cares? Why does that?
So one of the things, and again, this is only a pushback on Charlie, because I got to find something. I got to push back a little bit. Make people stay with one topic. She's bringing up the school. She's talking about her own school that she was raised in, her high school district. She's just jumping around, whatever. Like, stay with Capital Partners. I think that was a great example because people can go search that up and say, why should Capital Partners say something like they're not going to hire any white men? Does that mean that there's no white men that are qualified? So therefore, isn't that punishing white men by default? Like, hold her feet to that fire. That would be my only, and again, I'm saying this very, very humbly. That would be my only pushback. It's like, stay with one topic. Like, ma'am, we're going to stay right here with Capital Partners. They said this. Do you have a problem with that? And make her squirm and twitch right there on that.
That matter.
I don't think that matters. I'm saying that affirmative action.
No, you are saying it matters.
I'm saying that,
Right.
but I'm not saying for the white male or the Black race or the Asian race or the Indian race, or understand what I'm saying? I'm saying
No,
that
we don't.
I'm saying that it works in favor for any race and any sex. It works, and it does 1,000%. And I don't understand where you're getting that information.
It is anti-white racism that was in the fiber of our laws that is now getting away thanks to President Donald Trump, where if you were a white man, especially to apply for internships, jobs, going to college, that it was significantly harder to get those jobs, to get into those practices, because there were quotas that made it easier for people of other skin colors with lower standards to be able to get those positions. We agree there's only so many slots in a college, right? There's only so many positions in an internship. It's a limited supply.
I completely agree.
It is scarcity. So when you have a scarce resource, you have
Mhm.
to decide how you're going to divvy up that scarce resource.
For sure.
In a DEI model, they're going to say, okay, we're not going to do any more than 30% white, and then we'll do 15%. And so you kind of come up with these quotas. Therefore, they end up saying, well, what happens if the 15% Black is not qualified? They don't care, which ends up happening far too often.
I think a word picture, Capital Partners would probably be a really good example for this, or even a sports example. I don't know what school this is, but I believe they're in Florida. But maybe even talk about their team. Like, what if your team had quotas and they could only have so many basketball players of different ethnicities, and it doesn't matter if their skill level is at where they want it to be, but they run into another team that doesn't have that exact same quota in play, and all of their players are at a certain skill level and ability, you're going to be losing. You have a losing season every year. So I think that would have helped out a little bit. That would be my only pushback.
What happens if the
Can you give me examples of cases?
Air traffic control is actually a really good example.
Capital
we now have
Partners.
all the documents that show that we went on a hiring spree to have more Black air traffic controllers. There's a huge lawsuit about this, 15, 16, 17, where the standards for air traffic control have dropped so dramatically, and you're kind of seeing some of the effects of that potentially. And again, it's in almost every single corporate practice, every single college institution. But it just kind of comes down to more of a moral argument that I have, which is that if you have something based on merit, I don't care if it's all Black, all Asian, all white. It's an excellent group is what I want, not a diverse group. I care about excellence, not diversity. Because I do not believe diversity is a strength. I believe unity is a strength. I believe the pursuit of higher purposes is a strength. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I do understand where you're coming from. I feel like I do agree with some of the things that you did just say, and I may have to do some more research on the things that you said before, but I guess we
Shout out to this young lady, because I do believe she actually did research. She actually came in, she said, I watched 3 of your most recent debates. She gave the names of the debates, which I've never heard anybody do before. So, shout out to this young lady. I don't think she's disingenuous by any means or measure. There's a lot of people when we watch these, I think they're just faking the funk. But I do think she's probably the most genuine that we've seen in a while, because I do think she actually did the work. Shout out to her.
Can agree to disagree for the time being. Thank you for your time.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
She was sweet.
For
I like her.
context, I'm open to learning and being informed, but I do believe we have a disagreement when it comes to DEI. You think it stands for didn't earn it. Essentially that colleges are dropping the bar, but I think they're just opening the door. So for example, a recent Harvard analysis by Topic Economics found that students from the wealthiest 1% of families are 13 times more likely to score in the 1300 plus range for the SAT than students from the poorest families. And I don't think that's because rich kids are 13 times smarter, but it's because they have access to better schools, private tutors, test prep, everything, right? And according to the University of California, they show that family background accounts for 40% of the variance in SAT/ACT scores among UC applicants. I would also like to mention that the Diversity in Society's Leaders, the Casual Effects of Admissions at Highly Selective Private Colleges, a study shown by the National Bureau of Economic Research, that I think that if you think it's based on race, at times I think it's based on wealth. So legacy applicants, children of donors, and recruited athletes were significantly more likely to be admitted than other students with the same academic credentials. So, yeah.
But legacy is legacy is a real phenomenon, but schools want legacy because if we have a legacy of, again, y'all know how I feel about my alma mater, but I'll use it for example here. If they know that I went to Morehouse and my son went to Morehouse, the likelihood is that my grandson will go to Morehouse, and they'll know that they'll have 3 generations of Morehouse men that could potentially be supporting this school through donations, through fundraising, and all those kind of things, philanthropy, all that kind of stuff like that. So that's why legacy is a real deal. So sure, they might try to school might bend over backwards to get a child, a 3rd generation child in, or they might drop the tuition rate. I mean, that's a reality. But you know what? We see this with something as simple as your rewards program at Chick-fil-A. Why do they keep giving you rewards? Why does Starbucks keep giving you rewards? Because they want you to keep coming back. I could be a legacy Starbucks person. I probably could, shamefully. But my point is, why we don't need to make this something bad because Starbucks gives me free drinks if they don't give you free drinks, because they've gotten so much of my money that I deserve free drinks. Okay, I deserve it. They got so much of my money. So it's simple. It's not a hard thing to understand.
At least schools like Harvard, legacy students are about 5 to 6 times more likely to be admitted than non-legacy students with similar SAT scores. Roughly 43% of white students admitted to Harvard from 2000 to 2015 fell into one of the 4 categories, right? Legacy, athletes, teens interestless, or children of faculty or staff.
All those things, they have benefit. There's a financial benefit of having students of faculty and staff going to the school. They can write that off as a benefit to their moms or their dads. Athletes, of course, we already know the benefit of that. Legacy, we know the benefit of that. Why are we acting brand new? Why are we acting like this is something like scandal? Again, I don't like that this young lady is reading this, because she really should just have 1 or 2 questions and just go ahead and do it. You don't have to read it off to us. Like, give us the skinny on it. But, I digress. Let's go.
Quarters of these ALDC admits, 75%, would not have been admitted if evaluated only on academic credentials. My question is, I guess, do you believe that DEI could possibly not stand for diversity, equity, didn't earn it, but can stand for actual diversity, that diversity of abilities. When you go into a job or to a school, they don't just ask for your SAT score. They ask what kind of clubs you were into. They ask you to submit an essay. They are a holistic academic review. So why do you think it didn't earn it? If maybe they got a less SAT score, but them as a person are just more well-rounded than the person who had all these tutors but did nothing outside of it.
What yeah. Tell me about, do you know anything about the Students for Fair Admission case, the Supreme Court case at Harvard?
I would love to hear about
Yeah.
it.
So basically at Harvard, Asian and white students, they basically got 200 to 400 points knocked off of their score versus black and Hispanic students. So it was disenfranchising white and Asian students. So if you support DEI, let's say you're in charge. Do you think that we should have all test scores be weighed the same? Or do you think that certain ethnic groups should get certain points because of their race?
I believe that we should acknowledge the fact that certain students have a different starting point. Schools, private tutors.
Okay, I don't think that was maybe it was. People are saying that was a communist dictator on her computer. I don't think it is. I'm trying to find a good picture of it right there. No, I don't think that's Che. I'm sorry. I see what it is. I don't think that's Che, whatever his name is, the communist dictator. I think it's a dog right here in the bottom corner. This is it's like two people look like two friends. I don't think that's a Cuban dictator. I don't think that's him. It looks like a dog. I'll be honest. To be fair, it looks like a dog. I'm trying to find a better picture when she brought it up, but yeah, it looks like a dog. Sorry. Yeah, see right there. That looks like a dog. Here, let me move this other way. Taking a little side quest, y'all. We're doing a little side quest here. Do y'all agree? I mean, it could. I mean, I see what you're saying, definitely, but I don't think that's. She puts it down right here. I don't think that's. What's his name, Castro, and it was 11 right here. Let's get back to it.
Answer the question, because the status quo.
But it's not that black and white.
It is. So it is, because that's why affirmative action was struck down by the Supreme
But
Court.
we're not talking about affirmative action. We're talking about DEI.
DEI is an outgrowth. Affirmative action is an outgrowth of DEI and vice versa. But let me give you another example of DEI. Do you think if I say to a group, let's say of Hispanic and black people, if I say you people, is that a microaggression?
Say that again. I'm so sorry.
If I was talking to a group of Hispanic or black people and I happen to say you people, is that a microaggression?
I would think so, yes.
Okay, I think that's insane.
Why?
Because it's not a microaggression or racism to call any group of people you people. That's DEI in practice. So you guys might know about the group of clowns in the circus group of the Dean on F America thing. They fell apart in 1 week because one black woman called Dean and Parker racist because they were associated with a woman who called a group of black women you people, and they said you did not recognize microaggression. That's DEI in practice, where you could lose your entire job and your career for one misstatement. And you just showed it to me. Like, you think that's a microaggression to say you people to a group of Hispanic and black people? We should not be policing the speech of people. Instead, we should be caring about one thing, and that's merit and merit only when we put together our institutions.
But if you base it on meritocracy, like I said, you're initially bringing in wealthy people who have these tutors but aren't well-rounded.
So what? That doesn't mean anything. Yes, the degree of how good your parents are matter. Yes. If you
Why does that matter? I don't get why the idea is that, however, if this young lady was why are you assuming that quote unquote rich people had tutors? Why are you assuming that? Like, maybe they just work hard at their craft and they're able to do it. Like, why are you assuming that? It does seem like you're again, it sounds envious, and she's trying to hide her envy and her jealousy and covetousness under the guise of, I'm just supporting DIE policies and such of that nature. That's what I think it is. But let's go.
have good parents, you get something that people with bad parents don't get. That's applicable beyond college.
But with the people who score higher, let's say they didn't do anything, they are less likely to be able to take on challenges than the people who. Why wouldn't it matter?
Because
Wouldn't, as an
inherently,
employer,
you are penalizing those with good parents. The only way you can make this work.
you're not penalizing
Yes, you are.
them. No, you're not excluding
Not
them.
true. It is the only way we see this. In order to elevate equity, you must compromise excellence. And that's fine if that's your position, because there's only so many spots, there's only so many places. And if you have a lot of qualified people and you want to try to get not as qualified people, you have to prevent the qualified people and elevate the unqualified people. That's what the Students for Fair Admissions case showed us.
You're thinking that DEI is versus excellence. I think DEI is for excellence.
Got it. Show me one institution that got better the more it embraced DEI.
One institution that got better that embraced DEI.
That got smarter, more competitive, leaner, more productive, and that was better than it was 10 years ago. Are our airports more efficient? Are we landing planes better? Are our airlines better? Is our government better? Is our schools better? Is our universities better? Show me one example. Is our public health authorities better? Show me one institution that's embraced DEI that has become better, more excellent than it was 20 years ago. It doesn't exist. DEI will destroy an.
I'm sorry. I think Charlie should have let that one should have hung out there and let her really let that one stew. I think that was a great question, by the way. I think we should all remember that one. I think that was excellent, but I think we should let that one stew a little bit longer. Just a little bit longer, because I don't think she had time to think about and process what has gotten better since we've introduced DIE to the equation. What has gotten better? And let that sit. Schools, athletics, whatever. I think that would have been he should let that one sit there a lot longer.
Institution from within.
Let me ask you another question. When COVID happened, they removed the SAT scores, yet the graduation rates for Harvard were still the same. Do you think that because of, with that being said, since ACT wasn't even considered, schools are accepting people with the potential to succeed? Because once you get in, you're still going off the same merit as everybody else.
A lot of people drop out that are, the problem with Harvard is that they now have professors, the ton of them that are saying they have to retake courses and remedial courses because these kids should never be here in the first place. And they happen to be a lot of Black and Hispanic kids that were let in strictly because of the color of their skin. So I guess my question is, do you care about the racial makeup of a college?
The racial makeup of a college?
Like if a college was all white or all Asian, would that bother you?
I think it would stop them from being able to see different.
This is interesting. I want you to go back and I'm going to back up a little smidgen. Listen to the question that he asked and listen to what she actually answers.
College.
The racial makeup of a college.
Like if a college was all white or all Asian, would that bother you?
Would that bother you? Would that bother you? Listen to what she answers.
I think it would stop them from being able to see different perspectives and thus improve their systems and improve the quality of their operation.
But why is diversity only skin color?
Why? You didn't answer what you would. How would you feel about that? How would you feel? She's just assuming that they're not going to be diverse. They're not going to be able to see different perspectives, blah, 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 blah. But why don't you answer how you would feel about that?
Can't a bunch of white people also disagree?
Well, think of it this way. If I like my mom went to the hospital or something, and let's say her English is good, but her Spanish isn't. Oh, her Spanish is good, but the English not so much, right? It would help that if a person who is Hispanic or no Spanish would be the one helping her. She'd feel more comfortable with that person because she understands and relates.
Is the only person that knows Spanish? Does it have to be a Spanish person? That's the question. But ma'am, he asked you about your college, though. What would you feel if the college was only one ethnic group?
Okay. I mean, yeah, you're in America. You should learn English. I don't know what to tell you, but.
No, she is.
Good. I mean, I'm not trying to be insensitive or cruel.
But
yeah,
she would rather be with a Hispanic nurse versus one that doesn't, so she could speak comfortably.
As an organization, you must prioritize something. We think that excellence should be we must have an uncompromising pursuit and commitment to excellence and not equity. And we believe the more that we embrace this kind of culture of mediocrity, excellence will slip. And again, I could go through, at the core, DEI wants a lot of things, including racial quotas. We don't believe in racial quotas. Our best institutions would fall apart with racial quotas. We want excellence quotas and the best and the ones that earned it to be able to get in those positions. Thank you for your good faith conversation. Mr. Simple, you've said some very nasty.
Okay. And I think, besides the fact that I know there was some conversation about the young lady's attire, but I think she was a good faith person as well. I think she was respectful. I think that was super cool. I did think she had some good ideas and she wanted to. I just don't know if she was actually listening to what was being shared. I don't think she was listening to what Charlie was saying. All right, let's keep it going. Let's go.
Things about me online. So the floor is yours.
Thank you. Simple question, Simple Black Theory. What do you think about blind hiring? Are you for blind hiring?
No.
No. So why not? Because blind hiring, for those you don't know, is based on merit, where you don't
it's
look.
not.
So what's blind hiring?
Blind hiring would be that you do not put the race actually when you submit for, you don't even see the person when you interview them for a job.
No. That's one part of blind hiring. There's multiple ways to do blind hiring. But at the end of the day, blind hiring is exactly not knowing the person's race, age, or gender. That's based on merit. Like you said, you want merit, correct?
Well, hold on. Those things can factor into merit as well. For example, if I'm trying to hire for an Amazon warehouse worker, and all of a sudden I find out that they're at 69 with 1 year left from retirement and the age is not disclosed, wouldn't I prefer to have a 24-year-old man than a 69-year-old woman who's overweight?
You're moving the goalpost. Let's bring it back here.
No,
the whole point was about blind hiring.
No,
right?
you said race, sex, and age is not incorporated.
Correct.
I think you should have a full picture of a human being is when you hire them.
So you care about diversity?
No, actually, I don't.
Why? Because that's basically merit. You're focusing solely on merit. You said you want meritocracy.
Just to be clear, if diversity happens naturally through meritocracy, great. If all of a sudden we have people
DEI.
that, no, it's not. DEI is by force.
So let me explain that.
No.
Go ahead.
I got to interject. DEI is that we are going to forcibly make an institution more colorful.
Right.
We're going to forcibly make an institution more black. Where if all of a sudden, if half of Texas A&M was black because it was all on merit, praise God, that's an amazing thing. It doesn't matter. If all of a sudden, for example, if the NBA is 75% black because it's on merit, great, terrific. If the NFL is half black because on merit, we don't want to force race. We want excellence and meritocracy over race in every possible circumstance.
Right, yeah, my turn. Okay, so let's get into the NBA, for instance, right? Can we both agree at one point black people weren't allowed into the NBA, and then they allowed them to be in the NBA? Wouldn't that be considered diversity? Wouldn't that be DEI in itself?
No. It's actually the opposite. You're mistaken, my friend. It's actually, we're getting rid of any racial stereotyping. What happened was actually a form. No, DEI is racial stereotyping. So what actually was before was a form of white preference DEI, which is
right. And I know he's not going to do it, but I would love for him to just stay on this very simple topic because everybody can see it. There are way more, disproportionately more black men in the NBA than white men, but black men make up a smaller percentage of the overall population. So if you're following DIE policies, then there should be about no more than 13% black people in the NBA. I think we all know that there would be a problem there.
White supremacy or whatever, and then we got rid of it. We said we're not going to discriminate it, and the quality of play got better. Do you guys see the difference between the two? You see, it's very important. Well, no, actually, I'm talking to both you and the crowd, right? I'm talking to both, right? So what ended up what you want is you actually want to bring back a form of how Major League Baseball and the NBA used to work before we desegregated.
So we can agree that Executive Order 11246 is what basically brought in DEI, correct?
I think that might be it. Is that the affirmative action one? I don't know.
No, it's not the affirmative action. It's for DEI. So within that executive order, where does it say that they're solely focused on making people get into jobs? For instance, like United Airlines, right? You mentioned that. Well, let's pause that. I'm going to get to here. So for an example of DEI is basically your daughter, right? She decides to get a job, right? And unfortunately, it's that time of the month. She goes into the bathroom. Calm down. She goes into the bathroom. Stop. She's going into the bathroom.
You're losing the audience, man.
I don't care. I'm talking to you.
This is hold on. I'm gonna stop this. This is retarded. I didn't know this part. This is dumb.
She goes into the bathroom and gets a tampon or a pad that's been given from the job. That is DEI. That is literally yes. Yeah. You don't know. That's great. So if you don't know DEI, interrupt me so he can win. Go ahead. You want to do that, right? Or be quiet and we can talk. Thank you. So right.
What?
Can I continue? Thank you. So my thing is dead. All right. So Yes, because in Executive Order 11246, they say that DEI is focusing on a safer environment and a more equitable environment within the workplace and the hiring process. Let's look at Google. Google actually does DEI.
I would just love for him to stay on. That was really a hot take. I'm sorry. That was a dang, man. I hate when people make me want to rage quit because I don't think he actually is listening. I don't think he's listening. And I'm not well versed in this, and I'm just gonna make a statement. I don't think that a business offering various services within the restroom is a new practice. I'm sorry. I don't think that's new. I'm gonna go on a limb and say that's been going on for some time. So I think that superseded or DEI or affirmative action. I don't think that's something new. I don't think so. That was some crazy work, y'all. That was some wild work. All right, I'm gonna let him play because this is terrible.
You know how they did DEI? Give me an example of. Do you know Google's DEI? I'm pretty sure you don't.
And they shouldn't, of course not.
What is their DEI initiative?
I actually don't know the specifics because I don't know every company's specifics. However, let me ask you a question. When you're hiring somebody, would you rather hire someone that's black or someone that there is excellent?
So that's what we're talking about. That's not what DEI is.
Actually, it is. So let me prove it to you. As I said, according to the Student for Fair Admission Supreme Court case, black students were able to get into Harvard.
That is affirmative action, not DEI.
Affirmative action. Time out.
You're
time out.
Old shit.
Time out. Time out. You're getting too worked up here, man. Okay.
Stay
Time out. Affirmative action is DEI in practice. You see, DEI is a theory.
Wasn't it struck down by Supreme Court?
Yes, and they still ignore it.
Why are you bringing it up?
Because they're still ignoring it, my friend.
So let's focus on my question. I asked you.
Hold on. Let's get back to the core macro tenet. Which I think is very important.
Correct.
Which is, wouldn't you prefer a country built on excellence and merit,
that
not
what
one
DEI does.
Based on forced pigmentation diversity? Why does somebody's skin color matter? No, tell.
I think it would have been. This is probably a good place where Charlie could have asked him what has gotten better because of DIE policies or affirmative action policies, whichever one. But he also didn't express that DIE is actually the outcropping of affirmative action. So yeah, affirmative action might have been shot down, but DIE is running rampant still.
Tell me, what differences do you as a black man and me as a white man have, and why does it matter?
Okay, so
why does it matter?
So let's look at, because again, you don't understand what DI is, and you're trying to put it in one stance, which is not. So thank you. So back to this question. So an executive order, and correct me if I'm wrong, you don't know executive order 11246, correct? So
I have an idea of what President Trump signed, correct? But because he got rid of that executive order.
Right. And in that executive order, it says, literally, y'all can Google it too. It says that DEI focuses on both the workplace and hiring.
Oh,
now,
got it. So does it
now
focus
let
on
me
diversity?
explain. Now let me explain the
Does
DEI
it have the word
initiative.
diversity?
Yes.
We should not have any forced diversity, period. End of story.
It's not forced diversity. It does not say forced diversity. And I'll put money on that too.
What, does it say diversity?
It says diversity, yes.
Well, then it's
forced diversity. But it's not forced diversity.
Then what is it? It's a suggestion?
So correct me if I'm wrong. Tell me if I'm lying. Does it say forced diversity in the executive order?
But it has the word diversity.
Does it say forced diversity in executive order?
Hold on, let me get this straight. Executive order with the word diversity.
Can I give you an example of DI initiative?
Diversity?
Let me give you an example of DI initiative so you have a better understanding. So let's look at Google, right? Google's one of the hardest companies to actually get into. In fact, I believe it's a 0.2% chance that you actually get the job, right? They actually run a DI initiative. Their DI initiative is called a hiring committee where they have a diverse group of people that have been working.
Awful.
How?
Horrible.
So you're telling me Google sucks?
Google actually is honestly.
So y'all using
honestly,
Bing. Y'all using Bing.
Honestly, ChatGPT is way better than Google recently. I don't know about you guys. No, but honestly, to your point.
So checking out this young guy, shout out to him. He clearly he came in hot, and clearly they had some background even before this. There's some run-ins before with this gentleman. I don't think he's a student there at the school, but that's not the point. He clearly is not listening to what Charlie is saying, and he's adding things to it, like saying Google sucks. Who said that? He said that he doesn't believe that makes for a better company. And I do think that Charlie could go back to it and say, hey, what company has gotten better because of DIE? Explain it to me. What forced diversity or diversity as an initiative? What has, and again, just to say it's an initiative is just a soft way of saying we're forcing it. So like what has gotten better? Show me a way that's gotten better. A company has gotten better, or institution has gotten better with forced or soft diversity. All right, let's keep going. We're almost done.
So Google has lost its competitive edge in a lot of ways the last 10 years. Hold on a second. Again, Google does a lot right, but hold on. Google has lost the social media war. Google tried to launch a Facebook competitor, an Instagram competitor, failed. They tried to also launch a Zoom and a Skype
focus
competitor.
on the conversation.
Failed.
That has no proof
Google's
that was
market
DI.
cap. Google's market cap, otherwise known as Alphabet, has actually missed expectations over the last 2 years versus Netflix, Amazon, and Apple and Microsoft. In fact, there was a prediction 10 years ago that Google would be the first $3 trillion company.
Right.
Turns out that it was actually Microsoft that was the first $3 trillion company. Now, of course, Alphabet is a very good company in a lot of different ways. But if your argument right now is like, well, because one of the biggest companies on the planet has embraced a bad idea, what is your argument exactly?
They're still one of the best companies in the
Not
world.
because of that, because they were built by merit and it's being destroyed by diversity.
And they use DEI to get that merit. Listen, if they're hiring people, yes, it makes sense. If you're doing a
It
hiring,
really doesn't. And you're just loud. You're loud and you're wrong. No. DIE and merit are antithetical to one another. Okay, let them go, Jason.
process, and you have a hiring committee that is DEI, and they're hiring the people that's making the company as great as we just said. Your argument is that DEI takes away merit.
It does.
But if we see that Google is doing well and they're using DEI, how the hell are you saying that DEI is not making merit?
First of all, Google has not had this hiring committee around since its inception.
They have. Not since its inception, but they had it for a while. The people in the committee are people who's been there for a while, which is very diverse.
Secondly, you have not answered this fundamental question, though.
Go ahead.
Which is, can you tell me when an organization gets forcibly more diverse, it gets better?
Google.
Again, I just proved to you. Google is okay.
I just gave you Google.
Again,
they use DEI. Not only are they one of the best companies. Oh yeah. I hate that argument. Great.
I mean, again, it's just they're fine. I'm not gonna totally kind of crap on Google, but more importantly and more broadly, I do think you have to answer the question.
So I can't.
Why does skin color matter at all in hiring? Answer that question. Why does skin color matter?
So if we look at basketball, because you love talking about that, right? Can we both agree that at one point there was no black athletes, and then what happened? They diversified.
We got rid of forced segregation, which is a form of DEI.
And that diversified the basketball,
because it was based on merit.
I think Charlie would do really well to just stay. And maybe if you're arguing with somebody like this is a great example. Pre-desegregation NBA was forced DIE in the other direction. It was whites only. We have a merit. I'm sorry, we don't have a merit. We have a quota that we have to have white people. Once segregation happened, or desegregation happened, please forgive me, they were able to bring blacks in. Same thing with baseball. Same thing there. And now we are on the other end of the spectrum. Now the pendulum has swung the other way. And I don't think anybody would say that the NBA is bad in a lot of ways. But I think you get my point. Nobody's copping a fit or worried about the fact that the NBA and NFL and even baseball to some degree is vastly disproportionate to society. And I think that would have been a really good point to just stay on.
Diversified.
Yes, but not by force. No, hold on a second.
Very much.
Hold on, but if your argument is that if you want to make things more merit-based, then let's do it.
It is more merit-based.
Hold on a
They
second.
made it diversifying. They diversified basketball, bringing black people who are good in it.
Nothing you're saying.
Diverse.
Nothing you're saying is making any sense.
Oh, okay, I bet.
Because what they did.
Of course
is
you don't.
The NBA went to pure merit, pure excellence. Are you good at this? That's all they cared about.
They allowed black people in, right?
Exactly, because prior.
Okay, then.
Hold on. Because you know what they had prior was a form of racial stereotyping. And you want more racial stereotyping. Your worldview is indecipherable from the KKK.
So
what you want, it's indecipherable because you are race obsessed. I am not race obsessed.
No, you
talk
are,
about the
though.
race.
You
talk
are,
about race
though.
more than the Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Right.
Because
I'm the Grand Wizard of the KKK.
Well, think about it.
Yeah,
I said your worldview. Think about it.
Yeah.
Because you're around talking about race
This is such
all
an
the time.
interesting take. And he's done it a lot. So I'm sure this is not the first time you've picked it up. whenever Charlie gives it a rebuttal, he immediately takes it to the extreme of lunacy. You're saying that Google sucks. That horrible example about women's restrooms, and now that he's the grand wizard of KKK. Did Charlie say anything like that? Like, sir, he didn't say that. You just sound like you're not listening, which is crazy work. Okay, let's get done.
I'm talking about character. Which of
you talk about race all the time? You literally said DEI is based on race when it's not.
Because
it's
I'm
DEIA
explaining
with accessibility.
Man, you're getting really upset.
You're right, because you keep lying. For instance, right? I've been trying to say this. DEI, one part of DEI is literally giving women tampons or pads at work.
That is a weird take.
Yeah, you're laughing because you don't know that.
Giving women tampons is a form of DEI.
Yes, it is. You know why? Let me explain. Yeah, y'all know. I got you. I'm about to explain to you guys. So basically what happens is, the reason why we have DEI is the fact that in a job location, right, they want to hire more people of diverse. So what these initiatives, these goals, these aspirations that they're doing is trying to bring more people in. For instance, like if what's that store? Trader Joe's, right? They let people sit down while they they bring stuff in. They help disability. That's DEI. That helps disabled people get a job.
That's
at Trader
American
Joe's.
with Disabilities
But what you're
Act.
telling me is that we are not allowed to tell people that for like onboarding. Onboarding in itself is also DEI. When they
Dude, he's trying to make everything. He has moved the goalposts. I don't even know if they're even in the same solar system anymore. The goalposts are so far moved. It's crazy work. American with Disability Act means you can't discriminate because somebody has a disability. Y'all know my mother is disabled. Like I've been aware of this before. Like, what are we talking about? He's just making up stuff at this point. He does seem like a sovereign citizen, though.
Explain to you sexual harassment. When they do all these things, when they make it more a safer place, that is DEI. And what you're saying is that the workplace shouldn't be safe. What you're saying is that more companies should have discrimination lawsuits.
Let's get back
That's what DEI stops. Discrimination lawsuits.
DEI is racial quotas. End of story.
Give me one racial quota.
United
Give me one.
Airlines.
I googled that.
So
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh,
I googled it.
Okay, great.
Yes.
So
go ahead, continue.
Okay, you Googled it.
What did United Airlines announce? Because you know what I said about black pilots. What did they announce when it came to pilots?
So,
and why should
McCoy.
skin color matter when you board an airplane?
So just remind everybody, is Charlie Kirk's idea. He basically, stop talking. So Charlie Kirk basically.
Ooh, that's very misogynist. That's not very DEI of you.
All right, let me finish cooking. So, right.
Oh, you're not cooking.
So can I finish? So Charlie Kirk said that they're basically hiring women of color to make 40 or 50%, right? But when you actually look into it, what happens is
women and people of color.
Right, women and people of color. What happens is they're creating a program that's allowing women to train and become pilots. If you actually look at the requirements for these programs, it's nothing different than any other program that trains pilots. But you told people that they're just hiring women when that's not true.
First of all, I never said that.
Yes, you did. I did a video on it, guy.
Yes, I know what I said. Secondly, when you hire based on race and not on excellence, you end up compromising the standards of excellence.
They're not hiring based
Allow
on
me
race,
to
though.
finish without interrupting.
All right, go ahead.
When
If women, I'm not trying to be funny. If women could, if they're doing an initiative, they have the general population pilot training program, then they have the female pilot program over here. But what they're training the women and the standards are the same as the general population, why are the women not just training the general population? Like why make a female only or female whatever training program if the standards are the exact same for the general population? Like, why are you doing that? It just seems like it would be like you're wasting time, or you could use that time to, you're wasting money starting a whole new program when the women could just be in that program with the general population. It just seems like, well, what's the problem? Like, why is that a thing?
Hire based on race and not on excellence, you end up compromising excellence to be able to pursue race. We know this with Harvard, University of California. We know this with major companies. We know this with the government. Exactly. DEI, that is affirmative action is DEI philosophy in
struck down
practice.
already. You're bringing old shit that's been
Allow
struck
me
down.
to finish
That's
my
crazy.
statement. They are actively defying the Supreme Court decision, or they are contorting their policies to try to fit their own DEI agenda. But let me ask you a question. If you were to board a United Airlines,
I ain't get the finish. Right.
If you were to board a flight with United Airlines, would you rather have a pilot that is qualified or one that is diverse? Answer the question.
Wait, that makes no sense. Why is there two different things? How is it different? When you go to American Airlines,
because in the pursuit of diversity, you sacrifice excellence every time. We know this with Harvard. We know this with Yale. We know this with the military. Every time, every example that we pursue diversity, an institution becomes less excellent.
So
it becomes
Notice he's not going to answer that question.
subpar.
When you go on a plane, do you go to the pilot and ask for their credentials, or do you believe that the airline did the right thing and hired the right? So you ask
No,
for
I
their
don't.
credentials.
Actually,
you don't.
I'm starting
you don't.
to.
So
well, hold on.
so
I
for
start
some
to doubt
reason,
it.
we
That
can
was
have
my
both
statement.
diversity and
That
merit
was my
thing.
statement.
Right.
My statement was when you're going to if you're going to go from 4% of the pilots being black to 50% of the pilots to be black, it begs the question: you are going to lower the standards.
So my
you are
question
going
is-
you're going to put a square peg through a round hole. You are going to force something that naturally is not happening, and you will all of a sudden be playing a very treacherous and dangerous game.
But even like I think Charlie should just say, hey, if society is not, if the population is not 50% black, why in the world are you trying to hire 50% black pilots? Then we need to reflect the society, and black people are about 13%. So it should not be more than 15%. I'll give you a little 2 extra. Like, why are we doing 50? That's crazy work.
Game when you board a plane. When I get heart surgery or if I board a plane, I don't care about the color of the skin of the person doing it. I want excellence and I want meritocracy.
Yes. So stop talking. Now you're talking. So let's get back to, because you're talking a lot.
Wow, this guy's insufferable.
Final point, then I'll get to the next question.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay, so again, going back to what you said, because like I said earlier ago, you said, and I forgot this is ISU, you basically said that that women are being hired to become pilots, right? Now, first, that's a lie. That's based on a program. Second, correct me if I'm wrong, becoming a pilot is based on skill, correct? It's not based on height. It's not based on physicality. It's based on nothing. It's based on skill, meaning if you're being so what is it based on?
Because based on a now public lawsuit with the Department of Transportation in 2016, 2017, air traffic controllers and pilot standards were lowered in pursuit of diversity
True. I
goals.
looked at that too.
Because of over 15. Let me finish. Because of 15 whistleblowers that said the standard of air traffic controllers and pilots were being sacrificed in the pursuit of diversity, equity, and inclusion.
You're lying again.
Okay, I mean, people can do their independent research, and
I've done it, and you're lying. They actually made it harder. They add more scenarios within the FAA.
Again, everybody
you
here
can Google it right now.
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
Again, the documents bear out exactly. We now have we have air traffic controllers after air traffic controllers have said in the pursuit of making air traffic controlling more diverse, we have then lowered the quality of air traffic control.
So at the end of all this, what you basically told me is that if merit matters, it doesn't matter, because when we mentioned blind hiring, you said you're against that, which is based on merit.
No, time out. They said that they want to prioritize a group above what is meritocratic.
I didn't say that.
That's what United Airlines said. They said
I'm
half.
so confident.
They
read
said
the
half.
executive order out loud right
Airlines.
now.
I'm not talking about the
in front of
executive order.
everybody.
Again, they said half of all their new hires.
You got Cook.
Again,
Hey, thank you.
We have clarity, and the clarity is very simple. We want a country based on content and merit. He wants a retribalization of America. Thank you.
That was
This is such a terrible car.
That was painful, y'all. I saw it and I was like, okay, this looks like a good video. The first two were very calm. Maybe they did that, man. Maybe Turning Point did that to me. They set me up. They had two really calm, nice young ladies, respectful, and then they mixed it in with this craziness. That was crazy work, man. That was absolutely bonkers and so unnecessary. Now, I would say that the young blood would actually have learned something if he actually stopped talking. But I don't think that was the point. I don't think the goal was actually learn. I think the goal was to just try to quote unquote cook Charlie Kirk, which I don't think that didn't happen at all. Okay, let's see. Well, thank you so much. Wait. Just as I am glad you're alive. Mal has an interview with Candy. Look at her community post. How is that possible? Let's see. Mal is Marianne Lorian, I think her name is. And she is that's a very interesting woman. Bless her heart. Let's see. I'm not certain I see what you're seeing, Jessica. I don't see that on her community. Oh, let me look community post to double check. I think this is an April Fool's joke. I see it. I think this is April Fool's. I don't think this is real. I can't see Candace wanting to engage with this woman. And I mean, and yeah, I don't think I'll pull it in because people are wondering. This is a woman that's been very much on Umar Johnson's bumper. I don't know how to describe it. She's got a lot of things going on in her life, and now she's posting that she is going to be interviewing Candace. She was interviewed with Candace Owens on April 30th, 2026. Like I think this is just some I don't think that's true. I think it's just saying something. Yeah, I don't believe that's true. I mean, it could be. I mean, I guess crazier things have happened. I don't think that's real though. I don't think it's real. But what do y'all think for sure? So back to the young blood. You know what? I think the problem is they just didn't want to listen to what Charlie Kirk is saying. You've already determined that what Charlie Kirk is saying is wrong, that Charlie is wrong. And that's fine. The problem is, why not still listen instead of like trying to shout him down and so on and so forth? Why not actually listen to what he's saying and maybe learn something, or hear him in a different context, explain it, and be like, okay, I got what you're saying. Even though you said this, I kind of better understand what you're saying. Why not? Why be combative to the point that you're not going to get anything from it? Because there was nothing that was gained from that. I see some y'all got some good conference. Yeah, there was some reprobate behavior. There was some reprobate behavior for sure. I've definitely seen that one. And it is what it is. I appreciate y'all. Let me do this. Today is Wednesday. Tomorrow we got a long day tomorrow. So I'm gonna probably do a morning stream. Let me double check. I'm gonna probably do a morning stream tomorrow. And just chop it up with y'all. And if I can't do it, then I'll let y'all know, and then we'll just forego it. And then I just got the air conditioning guys coming tomorrow to do the maintenance checkup on the air conditioner. But I'll probably do a live stream early tomorrow and chop it up with y'all. We got Thankful Thursday. We got body cam. We got body cam bingo, all that kind of good jazz. I'll make sure you all know ahead of time. Lady, dear woke Christian, is waiting for your boy because our children are gone and we're gonna go run out real quick. So I'm gonna run to the store with my wife and see what she got for you, planned for your guy. Who knows? We'll see what you got planned for me. But I want to say thank y'all to everybody. Thank you so much to the moderators. Thank you for the very kind super chats and gift memberships. Thank you so much, Mike, and the 5 people that have been gifted memberships. I know they were sending thank yous to you. Thank you again for the very kind super Jessica as well. I appreciate y'all. I appreciate you rocking with me. Thank you so much for tapping in and all that kind of good jazz with us. Thank you for liking the video and all that kind of good stuff. I'm still on my grind to hit 100,000 subscribers before the end of the month. So if you haven't already subscribed, go ahead and subscribe. If I didn't earn it, let me know what I need to do to earn it. Okay. Comment down below, all that kind of good jazz. I really do appreciate it. Thank you to the moderators for keeping everything moving in the right direction. Y'all are the best. Everybody, please make sure you tip your waiters on the way out the door. Green hearts on the way out the door as well. I'll see you all real soon. Grace and peace. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the Jay Witt Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, Grace and peace.